Hello and welcome to the first ever North Division Championships here in Major League Quidditch. We have a lot of postseason implications to decide this weekend. We're excited to bring them all to you. I'm Ethan Sturm, alongside Reed Marchman, to give you the call. Reed, I'm really excited for a great day of Quidditch right here.
It's hard not to be. You said it. It's the first time we're ever seeing a North Division Championship like this. All 6 teams, six teams are going to be here competing, and that's really exciting because we get to finally kind of see all of these teams come together, really divvy out who is the best, who is going to make it to championships, and that's decided in these 2 days.
Right. Minneapolis and Rochester already clinched their bids. They will play tomorrow for the championship and the 2nd seed. These games we're seeing today are teams looking to get their bids as well. Indianapolis, Toronto is going to be our first game of the day. Best of 3 series to decide who becomes the 3rd seed of the North. Loser gets one last chance tomorrow to be the 4th seed and qualify. It's going to be a really exciting series. Both these teams, Toronto we saw get really beat up with injuries in the Rochester series. They're still kind of working their way back from that. Indianapolis got hit hard by the COVID bug this weekend, unfortunately. But talking to both teams, a lot of optimism on the sidelines.
Yeah, I mean, we were talking to Nathan Digman. And the biggest thing that we got from him was just the sheer confidence. Yes, it's a smaller group. Yes, it's not everybody that they would normally have. But it's a group that he feels confident can still run the table, can still make a big impact. And looking across at this Toronto team that's kind of surging, you mentioned that they lost a lot of members from that Rochester team. Their squad is pretty big right now. And they look more confident than I've seen them in any other year thus far.
Yeah, for sure. And it's going to be interesting to see what these teams are exactly going to bring out. Indianapolis is very short on their beating core specifically. And we're going to see some, I think, different looks from them. We saw Ben Peachy, who was beating for them, beating last season largely for Boom Train, was chasing for them a week ago. Now going to be back in the beating game. And, of course, Matt Brown, a stalwart in this beating game for Indianapolis for so many years, still on the mend from the torn Achilles he suffered last summer, but really showing up in a big way for this team already this season.
Yeah, we're going to throw it to the field because we're going to be starting here pretty soon, but I mean, for a matchup like this, I think that a lot of people coming in would have anticipated Indianapolis to be a favorite, but given the hit that they're taking to that beater core, I think this might be Toronto's best chance to have that franchise-defining upset to get into championships.
Yeah, and we're going to get some starting lineups going here on the field for both teams. Starting on the Toronto side, Andrew Custer's one of those players coming back from injury, will be starting at keeper. Devin Dutt, who is also not with the team for the Rochester series, going to be starting at beater alongside, I believe that's Derek Taylor. And then in the Quaffle game, head coach Michael Howard getting the start. Sarah Dykstra alongside him. One more chaser just out of my view right now. On the Indianapolis side, it was what we're talking about with Matt Brown getting that start, and he's going to be starting alongside Ben Peachy, just as we were talking about. Nathan Digman, not with the team for that Minneapolis series, getting the start at keeper. Monica Marion, I believe it's Kennedy Murphy, as well as Joey Shea in the starting role. We're about to get started here.
It's been a long time coming. I mean, last week we got to see Indianapolis and Minneapolis compete in Minnesota, but here in South Bend, the weather starting to get a little warmer. As we descend into the afternoon, these teams, honestly, given the summer that we've had thus far, probably fairly comfortable with the weather. So. Not a lot in the way of obstacles, and we're just going to see these teams compete at their best. No hurdles, no nothing, just Quidditch.
Yeah, and I mean something I think any Quidditch team likes to see when they show up on a hot day is a grass field in great condition. No turf with black little pellets to absorb all that heat in. And this field is in immaculate shape here, the home field of the Indiana Invaders soccer team. So we're very excited to be out here all weekend long. And we've got so much good action. Like we said, this series is going to be intermingling with the Detroit-Cleveland series. And then tomorrow we'll have the final bid series as well as the championship match between Minneapolis and Rochester, which I think is going to be an awesome, awesome series.
Yeah. I mean, so with Rochester coming back to the North Division and then having the impact that they've had, it's an impact that we've known they were going to have for a long time. But, man, all these teams feel like they have a lot to prove.
Yeah, and intensity all-time leaders in North Division championships. Minneapolis and Rochester each have one. One of those teams is going to get second tomorrow.
Yeah.
Matt Melton looks like he's going to get us started.
Brooms up. Here we go. Quaffle going over to the Toronto side. Does get beat, though. This is where we're looking for the fast break. No, the defense is strong, except Quaffle's picked up. Bludger is not, though. Digman gets beat in the keeper zone, only 3 feet from the hoop, and Toronto gets their first stop with Bludger control.
Yeah, you know, Ben Petrie was doing about everything there to force the turnover, but I think he thought Matt Brown had the other bludger, and he didn't. It was bludger control with Toronto. I think Nathan Digman made that read incorrectly as well, and they were able to clean it up with a nice turnover.
Michael Howard, the free chaser, receiving the ball. Walking up with bludger control. Toronto looking to break this defense here on the Indianapolis side. They can take their time, though.
Yeah, I think patience is going to be a huge factor in breaking down these zones all weekend.
All right, now we get the pressure. The swat, though. Nathan Digman gets another block. Now we're looking the other way. They want this bludger control, though. They've got an opportunity with them on the back foot, and then looking for the half-court offense instead.
Yeah, that's the danger of playing that green headband up top. They can't be beat out of the play, and they, with the long arms of Digman, will knock that pass down.
Pretty great play there from Howard, getting the pressure, and that allows the chasers to get onto this Quaffle. They generate the turnover pretty much only in the beater play, but they lose bludgers. Perhaps bludger in the middle of the field. No bludgers back. This is an opportunity. One stop, a great hit there. Another one from Digman. He's playing great on the defensive end, but it doesn't matter. A great score on the other side. Sorry, that is Michael Howard in the chasing game.
Yeah, it was Custer's bringing it all the way down, absorbing the contact, and able to get the ball out. And, you know, on those last couple possessions where we saw the kind of the differences in the two halves of this division that we've seen to date, this Toronto team has been forged in the flames of some very physical play. That Rochester series was a dogfight. And this Indianapolis team hasn't necessarily dealt with as much physicality. In that play, it was Toronto using physicality to force turnover on the other end and to get the goal on the other end.
Corey Smithson pressuring in, does bait the bludger. An ill-advised move. The beat is made. Now they look to pressure the chasing game. They do have a reset to give Indianapolis, and they use it. They have to. The bludgers are coming in now. Yeah. Indianapolis, though, able to fend off the pressure.
And get bludger control out of it.
Yeah.
Always the risk of that high press.
Matthew Brown playing a very smart game. Did lose that first exchange, but the recovery there was immaculate. Now Digman threatening.
Toronto benefiting from the lack of a middle hoop right now.
Yeah, that's his shot, and he wants it. But without it there, it's going to be a little more difficult. Monica Marion passing it over to Murphy.
Yeah, Brown readily getting all the way down to Dykstra and beating her off her hoop, but the shot just wasn't quite there for Digman, who did eventually get beat out of the play, and they'll reset it one more time. Of course, they don't have a half-court reset.
Oh, this is Murphy on the middle-sized hoop and does not get it. The angle was so tough, and she's trying to get that reach around, but the defense was quick on the side of Toronto.
Yeah, I think it actually might have been the beat from Smithson that disallowed that goal, because it was a good cut, but another really nice read from this Toronto beating game.
Impressive thus far. 10-0 Toronto. Andrew Custers now with the Quaffle. Passing it over. Oh, was looking for a cut there to hit in stride, but just a little miscommunication.
Oh, and Michael Howard is trying to force the out-of-bounds call there. Does not get it.
Digman, though, driving through one, not through two, though, has to pass backwards, and he looks shaken up on the play.
We'll get a stoppage. That is not a sight that Indianapolis wants to have to see in these situations. But again, it's the physicality of Toronto playing such a huge factor on the play. Able to get up on his own power, he's going to jog off. Wouldn't be surprised if he just got the wind knocked out of him.
Yeah, based on the hit, I wouldn't be. I mean, that feels like it's got to be it. But you know, we don't want to speculate. It is a tough play. I mean, he saw the open hoop, had an opportunity, but the chaser defense from Toronto coming out fast, coming out strong. The initial hit, just to wrap up, slow the momentum, allowed the second to be effective, and that's honestly just great Quidditch down at the base of the hoops.
Yeah. Peyton Jay is going to sub in for him. And
perhaps an immediate Cole Collins, though, does get beat?
Yeah, I think Smithson must have been behind the play, but then I believe Toronto just over and backed across the keeper's own line. A huge mistake there.
Oh, no.
I think Mike Howard might be pleading his case that it was an immediate possession, so
Yeah.
it wasn't a reset, but either way, it's going to be talked out here with the ref staff. But a big mistake there from Toronto if it was. But, yeah, like I said, I think the physicality difference has been the story of this game so far. When we were talking to head coach Nathan Digman about this, he acknowledged that to some degree they're going to need to get past some of these Toronto defenders if they're going to get something going on offense. And so far, the Toronto defense has been staunch.
Yeah, and we don't have to point necessarily to the personnel here on the Indianapolis side. We know that they're decimated, honestly, for what they would have been at full strength. But the beating game really hasn't felt too much different. It's a quaffle game. This physical defense here from Toronto that's made the difference is another stoppage.
It's another huge hit by Custers on Jay. Jay is going to go down, but was not able to execute the shot off of the hit. And we'll see if there's going to be a switch up in the gameplay of Indianapolis of getting that ball off a half second faster. And we do have some train tracks pretty close to the field, so that might be a bit of a reoccurring theme as this weekend goes on.
Not the traditional 3-whistle blast to signify the end of the game, perhaps a little more drawn out. But as we adjust here, we're heading back into our forward-facing camera. Thank you. We're taking a moment. It's only 10-0. Toronto coming out pretty aggressive. I think perhaps Indianapolis is a bit surprised early on.
Yeah, and Toronto's been doing enough in the beating game. I'd say Indianapolis is getting a bit better of it, but it is the physicality that's been the difference, as we said. And now the next question is going to be, we were never worried about how Ben Peachy and Matt Brown were going to play in the beating game.
Yeah.
The issue is the depth is kind of really worn down on this Indianapolis side. It's going to be interesting to see how some other players step into it. We've talked a lot to Nathan Digman for this, and it's going to be people picking up new roles, people who have only been playing the position for a little while, players that they prepped specifically this season in case this situation came up, and players like Riley Andrew, who's basically coming fresh back from injury for this series.
Yeah, the rare double train is what we're seeing right now.
We're going to get started here, though. Missed
All
shot.
right.
There was no call on the play.
Yep.
And Digman is the one who subs back in for Jay. So hopefully our brief speculation was correct, and it was just the wind got knocked out of him on that hit.
I honestly, I mean, we've seen Digman come back in from those kind of hits. It feels like series to series. He plays so hard and not with a reckless abandon because he is a very calculated player, but sorry, we got a little more offense here on the Toronto side. No turnover, Digman the other way, no bludgers. Perhaps for 5 more seconds, does realize that with an unfortunate roll in Toronto's favor, he does not have the fast break he was looking for. But bludger control lies with Indianapolis.
Yeah, and it was all Brown and Peachy on that defensive stand. They bait out the beat attempt. They get out of the way. It's a perfectly executed pass and a really nice turnover.
Almost. They were feigning the handoff to Manzella and instead looking for the shot. They still have bludger control. Devin Dutt with the lone bludger on Toronto's side, looking to maintain so that they do not have an offense, a no bludger offense for Indy.
Yeah, and we've talked about in the past, Indy struggles to break down a zone. Digman is supposed to be that answer.
And there it was, another shot, no good. Perhaps a little rusty now. Good contest there for the quaffle as a call is made. Devin, right as I say that, gets beat and has another unfortunate bounce, allowing for the no bludgers, but I mean, the Toronto defense, what more can we say?
Yeah, and I don't think it's going to hurt them because it's currently keeper ball in their own zone, so they can walk it up slow, let Toronto's beaters find one of those bludgers. But you're right, Dutt and Smithson are just struggling against this Brown-Peachy combo.
And the real question is, how long can this combo last? I mean, you're not going to be able to play 35 minutes in a game, continuously, and you're going to have to find some subs. But 5 minutes into this one, it's a 10-0 game. You got to find a goal. Ooh, close pass, does not get the handle on it, and the turnover is made. Now, with escorts, they're looking to run. We've got one person to beat, and they do exactly that. The pass to Manzella is stuffed, but the putback is good. Indy gets on the board.
Yeah, really nice effort play by Custers. They got beat out in transition, ran back to the hoops, got in front of that pass, but once it bounced back to Digman, it was going to be a goal all the way. And, this is really similar to what we saw in Rochester. The way Rochester's beaters were frustrating the Toronto beaters when they had bludgeon control was with simple throwbacks to hoops. That is how Ben Peachy is absolutely winning every single exchange right now on the defensive end. But we do see our first line of subs from Indianapolis in the beater game. This is when things get interesting.
All right, fresh legs. Looking in the shot, though. Oh, it is no good, just barely on the outside. Now we get the runaway. Cole with 2 bludgers in his face, but it's a friendly fire on the Toronto side. Bludgers are overcommitted now. They're just looking for one more pass. Do they get a great wrap-up, though? The beat is made to allow for some.
Yeah, and that's a huge play there by Kahane, is able to force the turnover with a tackle out of bounds. And, Kahane is a primary beater, clearly not scared to show her physicality a little bit there.
It's Toronto's name of the game right now. I mean, the physicality from everybody on the field looks incredibly good. The hoops can't even stand it.
Yeah, the call on the play, though, is going to be that Kahane was beat and then finished a tackle that pushed the player out of bounds, so not going to be a turnover in this case.
Anna Holmes with the quaffle. Bit of wind picking up here. That might be the only implication here that the weather is going to have. And honestly, as me personally, I would sometimes rather take some of the inclement weather, the rain, over a strong, gusty, and unpredictable wind.
Yeah. And, as we talked about the stoppage, we talked about how Brown and Peachy finally come out of the game. And this is kind of that innovation or, breaking case of emergency planning that this team planned for. Navash Jairam was being prepped for this series for the potential need. And then, as we were mentioning, Riley Andrews basically played every position on a Quidditch pitch at this point in his career. Will be playing beater, coming back from an injury he sustained in the scrimmages this team was playing against Kansas City before the season.
And with Riley Andrews taking the field, this Indianapolis squad, all 30 members on their rostered team, has played in a game now. Awesome. Potentially the only team in MLQ that has done exactly that as they get their first lead of the game. A great shot here from Cole Collins on the top hoop.
Yep, and they're able to get bludgeon control out of the exchange as well. Scherzer trying to beat Andrews into doing something fancy, but he just takes the easy path back to his hoops.
And loses his broom as well, can't locate. The effort play,
Yep.
But Riley, has a great impact. Indianapolis, yes, they're losing a lot of members on that beater core, but they look super solid so far.
Yeah, yep. And we're seeing quaffle subs now coming out from Toronto. Bunn and Medeiros are now in the game alongside Custers. But Custers kind of throws Paige Hare into a really bad spot there, and it's an easy turnover. Now it's going the other way.
All right, this is the pass. Not able to reel it in. Anna Holmes on the cut, a beautiful play. It's just this wind beginning to have an impact.
Yeah, and Collins, I thought, threw that a second earlier. Didn't really draw the defense to him before he made the pass. And I think that's kind of the effect of that physicality starting to show. Indy's a little bit more trigger happy to get the ball out of their hands.
It makes sense. They've been so stout there. Now, Toronto driving on 2 hoops this time, favoring Indianapolis. Oh, Brian making a good play. Or sorry, Riley Andrews making a great play.
And he's going to be able to press off of that as well. But really nice use of the pitch here by Toronto.
A great cut there. Levi Medeiros. Screaming down the field, catching it like a fly route on the NFL field. But now we get the cut. No bludgers. Looks for it. Does not get the shot they're playing on. It looked a little low to me. Maybe took it a little too soon. One more move, and I think it's just a dunk, but opts for the shot instead.
Yeah, it was Anna Holmes who was able to do just enough to affect that shot, which kind of went right down to the ground. And there was a chase down to the hard boundary line. I think Riley Andrews got a little over-ambitious with that press. Basically was trying to press the second they crossed half field and kind of got goaded into, I'd say, making a mistake there that ultimately hasn't caused him to lose bludgeon control, but did allow for that shot opportunity. And we see Brittany Kahane, who has now moved over from the quaffle game to the beating game. It looks like Kahane's going to be playing a lot of minutes all over the field for this Toronto team.
Something we might see this entire weekend, I think. But it's a tall order. Indianapolis with low numbers, just dense personnel. That's what Digman was talking about in our pregame. And if these games go long, if we get to that third game in a 1-1 series, that's where I think that Indianapolis might be a little nervous, having to play those long minutes. But I mean, they're not unaccustomed. Now the shot, no good. Another one goes just under the hoop. I mean, we've had 6-7 shots now, barely missing for either team.
Yeah, and you can see, I think Digman is definitely a little bit frustrated with himself right now, not able to get those finishes that have been his bread and butter for so long. But I'm sure they're going to come as he gets more into the flow of this game. Brian Melchior now into the game for the first time at keeper for Toronto, and he is a tough person to start when he gets ahead of steam.
Okay, the shot still there, possibly. The pass behind, another one, but it's a great defensive effort there. Joey Shea on the ground, turtling for this quaffle, waiting for Bludgers.
Yeah, and of course, anytime there's a pile-up now in MLQ within a keeper zone, it's a 10-second count-off to just be an automatic turnover to the defending team.
Bludger control on Toronto's side.
Digman definitely looks like he's still not quite walking down the field at 100%.
Well, I mean, if you can preserve your legs, you don't have to speed up the game. Indianapolis is happy to do that, maintain some of that energy for that snitch on pitch. That's what they're looking for, to really run. But, I mean, with Toronto, the way that we've seen them in the quaffle game, I feel like they feel pretty confident in exactly what Indianapolis wants, and that's a chaos in the quaffle game. But now, Bludger's all on the ground. Digman with an opportunity. He's got about 5 seconds for. The shot is good. The top hoop, and where else? Digman gets Indianapolis a 3-1 lead.
Yeah, and that play is all because of what Monica Marion did on the wing there. She brought it in. She beat one defender, which forces a shift of the zone, a second defender over to her. She then swung it to, I believe it was Kenny Murphy, who swung it across to Digman. At that point, he was on the weak side of the field, had a ton of space to expose, and he's not going to miss those opportunities.
Yep. We get a line change. Sinan Cater and Piotr Maku on the side of Toronto. Matthew Bunn on the top of the key, but with the ball, Melchior.
Yeah, this is the issue Toronto got into sometimes without Howie on the field in the Rochester series. They just didn't have the passes to break down these zones. Theirs may be one of them, though.
Oh, potentially. The pump fake is so clean. Indianapolis bites on it, and it's Sinan Cater coming into the game and immediately making an impact. 2-3 in favor of Indy.
I think I just managed the opposite of a caster's curse there.
Yep. Oh, my God. What did we call it last week? We coined such a great phrase, and now I'll think of it.
We've got hours and hours to come up with it.
Yeah, it's true.
And just like that, it's a 3-2 game again. And this has been a tight one all the way through.
Yeah. Oh, it's the caster clairvoyance. That's what it is. A positive spin on the caster curse. Okay. Cole Collins with the quaffle. Murphy on the close side. Oh, beat on the far side, though, and it is still in the hands of Indianapolis. Matthew Brown all over the place on the offensive end as the shot is good. Indianapolis 4-2.
Yeah, and I think that was just a step too far there from Robin Chu, who just came into the game for the first time. That throw was probably never forcing a turnover and did end up creating big holes in the defense that were easily attacked.
Indianapolis with a big surge here. I mean, it's been a 4-1 scoring spurt here for Indianapolis. The only combo breaker coming in our last possession here from Toronto, but another pass. The beat is baited, but the secondary pass is a bit too tall. Joey Shea able to pick up the ball. Going the other way, though, Indianapolis ready to take it slow.
Yep. And I do like that this Toronto line seems to be a bit more comfortable moving the ball around.
Yeah.
I think one of the issues that we were seeing with the first couple lines was just the drive was there, the dish wasn't there, and Indianapolis was just collapsing on the drive. So I think we'll see them bear fruit as the game goes on, as Ben Peachy does come back into the game for Indianapolis in the beater game.
Ali Manzella, Cole Collins, and Hannah Miller with the quaffle. They're spreading the ball out. They're looking for an opportunity. Indianapolis with both bludgers looking to pinch this defense of Toronto. The pass is so clean. Ali Manzella gets on the board as well with a one-timer of this Indianapolis squad.
Yeah, and I think we're about to get a timeout from Michael Howard of Toronto. And, you know, I don't know if that was by design, but it seemed like there was a complete miscommunication on whose responsibility it was to step up to Cole Collins there. Neither chaser did it, so he stepped into the lane. Finally, a beater started to step up, but it was way too late. The drive-in dish was easy and there, and just like that, it's Indianapolis starting to get really comfortably running away with this game.
Yeah, a couple concerns, but they've really settled in maybe a turn of events I wouldn't have anticipated. I felt like as the game would go on, Toronto would just get stronger. Oh my gosh, I'm losing to the wind. I got it. I felt like Toronto would just get stronger with their numbers, but Indianapolis really settling in. I think maybe the physical play of Toronto at the beginning could have been a little more taxing on them than it might have been for Indianapolis, and just the experience is showing as they comfortably take a 5-1 lead at this point.
Yeah, I mean, I think it really comes down to just the comfort that the Intensity seem to have moving the ball around the zone compared to Toronto, who seems to be a little bit more one-dimensional in their approach. And I would imagine that is something that Michael Howard, their coach, is talking about. All of that said, we do know Toronto is the stronger team around the Snitch so far this season. Chris Smithson's been very, very good for them in the Seeking game. So, it's very possible that a 3-goal Quaffle lead, as we start to tick towards 20 minutes, we're not there yet, could, go away very, very quickly, and we could basically be playing an even game down the stretch. That said, in those situations, it's been the team who's dominated these first 20 minutes across all of MLQ who keeps coming out and winning those situations. So we're definitely need to find something different here from Toronto on the offensive side if this game is going to be competitive, and really if the series is going to be competitive all the way through.
I think if they don't overstep on a lot of their beater play, if they don't overstep there, then their passing has looked a little better, with the exception of that final play to Manzella on the short side of the hoop. That was really the only effective ball movement I've seen from Indianapolis. Outside of that, it's just been those longer shots on open hoops. But Toronto has at least seemed more comfortable moving that ball around. If the beaters can get on the same page, then I favor Toronto's play style, at least for the next few minutes.
Right, but that doesn't involve, as this Toronto team deals with its own depth issues and kind of deals with players maybe playing out of position at a time, how they're going to break that all down.
Yeah. Bludger control over to Indy.
Michael Howard does sub himself back into the game, and Devin Dutt's going to be making the switch to the Quaffle game after starting in the beating game. A lot of that from Toronto so far today.
Yeah, a very fluid roster. You really don't know who's coming in where. And working to their advantage. Wow. And Navash is able to beat the Quaffle out of the air. Michael Howard on the backside. Passes forward. Does find Dutt. Dutt looking for the shot. No good. Great defense on the side of Indianapolis.
Yeah, and I really like what Toronto did there. They moved the ball a lot better. They found some cutting lanes. And honestly, I think Michael Howard's pass was on its way to being a goal, or an assist at least, before that very unfortunate beat that Quaffle right out of the air.
Anna Holmes with another big stop on defense, though. She's showed up big near those hoops and has prevented 3 goals by herself. I mean, that's kind of the difference in this game right now.
Toronto's going to get to press off of this. A nice exchange handled there by Maku.
Holmes on the close side. Beater play favoring Toronto right now. Is Digman able to dodge that? It looks like so. Now they only have 1 to look at, and they got bludger control on the play.
Yeah, that's the second time we've seen that from Zoo, just pressing a little bit too high out of the press and not quite having the answer.
Digman looking for the pass potentially, but it slips. Toronto saved on the possession. They lose bludger control, but don't cede a point.
Yeah, I don't think that's the trajectory that's ever going to get you an assist in that situation.
Yeah.
There's just a little bit too much air under it. Even if it was on its target, I think the defense would have had time to adjust. And that's just what we've seen so far from Diggy, just a hair off in a lot of his passes and shots.
All right, Toronto on offense looking to make something work. They've got to get bludger control back. I think that's going to be the focus as they keep this Quaffle safe until then. Bludger's starting to hit the ground. Robin able to get something. Now, second shot opportunity, potentially. The wrap is so clean. Those long arms putting it through the hoop around the Indianapolis defenders.
Yeah, Custers is so athletic and able to get in the lane and finish that one. But again, much like we saw in the Rochester series, the Toronto offense looks so much more fluid with their head coach out on the field, getting that ball moving around. He's the one who missed the shot from behind that's picked up by Custers, and the shift to him in the defense allows Custers to go in and score. And it's kind of funny because we've seen Digman playing behind the hoops for the Indianapolis offense. So it's both head coaches just kind of directing their teams from behind the hoops.
You love it. On-field coach. Wow, a great dodge there. Derek Taylor, beater for the Toronto Raiders. Does get the second one as well. No harm, no foul, though. Oh, the beat is no good. Kahane able to get the bludger back for the time being now. Opportunity, though, Indianapolis. The ball's floated through. It looked like 7 players at one point. Now the pass back gets beat, though. Very big heads-up play.
Yeah, it's Ben Peachy again making a big play.
Oh, the shot, no good. Good. We've got.
I think we might have to talk this one over, but Kenny Murphy just unleashed one into the short hoop.
It obstructed, I think, once again, just it's such a congested hoop there. I can't imagine the window was big, and given the contemplation here by the refs, they probably agree.
Yeah, just 2 different angles. You know, some of the shots are a tricky one to get. But yeah, the goal's called good, so Murphy gets on the board for the first time today. But yeah, all that said, I have liked the way Toronto's come back out of that timeout. I think they're looking a lot better. It's in that beater game now where they kind of have to keep finding ways to get level because they made some nice plays there, but you know, it just seems like Matt Brown and Ben Peachy just keep coming at you. And they even briefly forced the turnover before Peachy just turned around and fired one at Dutt, who was looking to break the other way.
Yeah, it seems like the arm strength is actually a benefit. It's not something we talk about a lot, or that we should necessarily. I don't think it has such a huge impact. But whenever you're only 4 beaters on the team, you can't really run around as much as you would want to, and you do have to rely on those arms a little more in this instance. And I mean, these are some players that can absolutely do it. Sure, it's gonna bite you a couple times, but as we see there,
yeah, it just bit them.
The caster clairvoyance again. But yeah, Indianapolis happy to sit back and do a little less running to preserve those legs for the future.
Yeah, but, you know, Toronto's facing the same things because we've seen Brittany Kahane, who's now in at beater, play a ton of minutes already in this game.
And get bludger control back. Has to beat Peachy. Does not get the beat, though. Toronto on offense. Peachy from behind. They don't see him. Oh, the heads-up play to swat the ball back. I mean, sure, it's a turnover, but it's a turnover 15 yards behind the hoops.
Yeah, it's a huge play there by Custers. I'm not exactly sure what happened in the beating game, though, because Derek Taylor kind of disappeared from the play, but they still ended up with bludger control, but Indianapolis was able to press them out of a turnover.
It's exactly what you cannot prepare for. You know, it's nothing you practice. It's just heads up, a play from all players on the pitch, just trying to make the best of whatever situation you're in.
Yeah, and just a couple minutes now until the 20-minute mark, so teams are going to start thinking about prioritizing bludger control and possibly getting the right lines they want out, which is something a lot of the coaches talked to us about before the series today, you know, making sure they have the right roster ready for Snitch on pitch.
Now look at Mary Owen on the backside. She's going to be looking to try to retain some bludgers here. Is able to get something as Digman looks on the medium-sized hoop and scores another one. Digman gets a hat trick.
Yeah, Digman finally getting into his own there. You know, that push shot, exactly what he wants to be hitting all day. Slides through one defender, absorbs the contact from the second. A lot better there from Digman.
Sarah Dykstra subbing out here. Coming in, Paige Hare.
And Howard and Custer still out there. Really, I feel like Toronto's only been able to put up points with them on the field.
Yeah. Emma Sherwood, the free beater on the backside of Indianapolis, doing exactly what Mary Owens was looking to do on the front side. The contest is made. What a great catch, Derek Taylor. Now the opportunity's there, and Custer's muscles it through. 3 defenders to get the dunk.
Yeah, Howard gets into the lane and just feels confident to just throw one up, knowing that Custers is the tallest and has the largest vertical of anybody in there, comes up with it. They're going to talk about that bludger, I think, that went flying past and whether it made contact or not. Obviously, we have no way of telling from up here, but that's what we got ref staff for.
It's true. Matt Melton doing a great job so far. Honestly, if you haven't seen him head ref, you definitely have heard him. He is a very vocal and projects better than almost anybody I know out there.
There's a bit of an explanation there, but the end result is that the goal was good, so it is 70-40. Michael Howard still like something about the call, which is saying something since his team got the goal out of it.
Never satisfied. They give an inch, take a mile. They are the trash pandas. There's nothing out of their reach.
There you go. And again, it's kind of Derek Taylor behind the play, or looking to press, and really relied on Sherwood to win a battle against Brown there, which she was able to.
Cole Collins with the pass, but the beat there. Toronto just suffocating on the defensive end with what looked almost like a full court press. Now going back the other way, there are no bludgers. Gets one pass off. The dunk is good as well. Toronto is surging back into this game.
Yeah, this is the first time we've seen Indy go deeper into their depth at beater than those first four, and it's kind of creating chaos. And Derek Taylor, who ran their Detroit series, who ran their Cleveland series with a high press alongside Brittany Kahane, looks ready to do it again here.
That's Dutt on the score. Potentially 20 minutes was called before the score.
So 70-50, a really big few minutes there by Toronto, and puts them in a position where, you know, a snitch grab could make a real difference, put them back in control, and give them a chance to get a win here in what's obviously a super important game one of the series, given these teams' depth issues that we're seeing on display.
Yeah, one of the best timeouts we've seen all year as well from the league. Yep. Toronto, I mean, they had a really rough, 5 to 12 minutes, and after calling that timeout, has surged back into this game, bringing back the physicality we were praising so much in the early game, this time on the offensive end, though.
Yeah, and, we talked to Michael Howard before the game, and we asked him, as one of your team's best quaffle players, but also your team's head coach, how do you kind of balance that? And he said, realistically, I kind of know where I fit into this team, and I think given, our specific depth concerns this weekend, I'm probably going to have to play a lot of minutes. And it wasn't just his calling a timeout, it was him subbing himself back in that really created that offense that started to flow a little bit more for this team.
Yeah, and it's not going to show up on the stat sheet. It's more of just facilitating the play. He's a selfless player. We've seen it on the pitch now, and everybody getting involved on a lot of these plays offensively for Toronto, and honestly for Indianapolis as well. These teams, it feels like in the latter half of that regulation was more of that half-court practiced style rather than, just the chaos that we saw at the beginning.
Yeah, Indianapolis has, really been good about their ball movement. They've been opening up opportunities.
Yeah.
They were, I think, forcing a little bit at the beginning, and that's why they were taking those hard hits. That's why, they were missing some shots or missing some harder passes that they were forcing themselves to make. So, yeah, I mean, it'll be interesting to see if they can kind of keep that going, what responses Toronto might have, and, how this added period is going to play out here.
All right, just about a minute until we start back up. We're going to head back to the field. Playing musical chairs up here in the booth, but the wind at least dying down a little bit. We're not hitting the same amount of gusts. I think as we go into the evening, it should get a little better. We got a lot of rain last night. Yeah. So the field the field condition is amazing, and because of all that rain, it's actually fairly soft. I think a lot of the players are happy to take some of that contact, knowing that you're kind of falling into what is just a perfect pitch right now.
Right. And yeah, that stoppage was not for the 20-minute timeout. That was a mistake on our end. It looked like they wanted to switch the hoops out. We were seeing a lot of top hoops falling. Okay. They were looking for something maybe a little bit more stable. But we have to be quickly approaching that mark to be fair.
Yeah. I think potentially this could be the last possession. All right, bludger control in Toronto's favor. Indianapolis making that sub. Here we get a countdown for that 20-minute mark. So this will be the last possession of our first game in the North Division Championship. Indianapolis with the quaffle.
Indianapolis using that space once again to try to give their beaters a chance. And I think, almost. Yeah, there's going to be a one opportunity there.
Navash Jaram with a great beat. Honestly, a 10-yard beat to get that bludger control back. And now Indianapolis can pressure. They want to maintain that bludger control for Snitch on pitch as it looks like Benjamin Peachy is waving off to stay a little more at the top of the key. Okay, now the opportunity. Digman gets the pass. Oh, no good. The beat was before.
I think we might have a call on the play. No, it's just going to end it. I did think we hit the 20-minute timeout.
Yeah, we did. Okay. Yeah. I potentially playing advantage? Is that – yeah. That would be the reason for continuation if there was a call on Indianapolis. I think Okay.
Yep, so no call, and
Yep.
then the first half has ended. So
Yep.
that's going to take us to the 20-minute timeout. We thought we had
Yeah.
one possession prior, but that's going to be an important possession because even though they don't get the goal, they get the
Bludgers.
the Bludgers, first
Yeah.
snitch on pitch. And, we talked about Corey Smithson had a good season so far at Seeker for Toronto, but now we get to see Riley Andrews for the first time coming in at Seeker for Indianapolis, trying to provide that spark plug. This team's had a long, long history of really successful Seekers, Team USA Seekers. There's been big question marks all season this year. Riley Andrews coming back from injury, hoping to answer some of those questions.
Yeah, unfortunately though, they will be pulling their Seekers from that beater game that is going to be fairly lacking at a time whenever beaters are some of the most active players on the field. So it is a lot easier to save legs whenever you have bludger control, but you're not realistically going to keep bludger control for 100% of that snitch on pitch play. So, Indianapolis, I think this is where we're going to see the grit in this team, the dog in this team that Digman was talking about at the beginning.
Yeah, and they're going to have to be gritty because this Toronto team, as we've been highlighting, is physical. And, I believe Custers is on the pitch right now. I would not be surprised if Brian Melchior came on the pitch as well. This Indianapolis team is going to need to turn up the physicality if they want to even exchange goals with Toronto as that snitch on pitch period is happening, because I do expect that, at least briefly, as these Seekers get a chance to feel out the snitch, definitely beater play on the snitch.
Yeah, and Toronto looks really good in the fast break. I think Indianapolis has had a lot of those opportunities, but it's been Toronto in the latter half of regulation that's impressed me most in that regard. Of course, Custer is just converting on so many of those, but the entire Toronto squad has an opportunity to do exactly that, as not too long of a break, something I think either of these teams aren't too sad about. They look ready to get back onto this pitch. They look excited for this snitch on pitch play, as this is the closest the game's been since 1-1.
Yeah. And it's the exact matchup we were expecting. It's Smithson, it's Andrews. It's going to be a fun one. Set score is 130 here for this game.
All right, 20-point difference. Indianapolis 70, Toronto 50.
But Toronto with the ball, I expect them to kind of hold for 10 seconds, wait for the beaters to leave the game, look for a goal there.
Yeah. With this free time, they could look for an opportunity to make a play on the bludgers to get bludger control, but it's a bit risky given the state.
Yeah, everyone's just going to wait it out, and that's going to allow Toronto to get the first dibs, and it looks like Indy might just be staying in the quaffle game here.
Yeah. And they're happy to do so. I think that's a fine call, knowing that you've got a 20-goal lead. Digman, looking against no bludgers, has plenty of time, just needs to find the opportunity. Draws defenders, looks for the shot, and gets it through the hoop. Digman with his 4th goal of the game.
Yeah, Indy is the closest thing we have to a home team playing in their home state here, and that was definitely a home field roll there off of that hoop.
Yeah.
So the beaters were able to clear out Smithson briefly while that offensive possession was happening, and now they're sitting back into the half court again. And Toronto's just kind of forcing into it, and I'd really like to see Toronto slow things down instead of trying to attack 2 bludgers with 0.
Yeah. Work through the snitch play. Once you beat out the Seeker, then you can look into the quaffle play and potentially get bludger control. I think that's the opportunity, but Toronto has had a lot of time here with this snitch.
Yeah, but it's definitely a tough matchup. Smithson's, though, doing a really good job of dodging some beats. They might even lose bludger control off of that last dodge. So Smithson's able to get bludger control for his team all by himself. No, he's not able to. I apologize.
Yeah, just a hustle play, and Digman with the exact same thing on the quaffle side. Runs through one defender and jumps over, essentially, the hand of the other.
Yeah, and I think strategically, Indy is just kind of doing a little bit better here. Riley Andrews finally got his first shot at the snitch there, because it looks like Toronto's now going to have to switch over and play beaters in the quaffle game as well, now down 40, just like that.
Bludger control being the difference maker in my mind. Indianapolis can invest so much on the defensive end, but a great pass. The shot on the top hoop is no good, though. Turnover on to Indy. Cole Collins makes the pass up to Anna Holmes, who can't quite get there, as we get another keeper zone turtle. Beaters are there this time, so it should resolve a little bit faster. Indianapolis beating out the Seeker game, and this is more time with this snitch.
Yeah, I will say I think the biggest concern right now for Toronto isn't the way the game's going, because they have only given up 2 goals and they've been getting infinite time with the Snitch. It's that I don't think Smithson's getting that close right now. And I think they either need to look at a potential seeker sub, or they need to look to switch their priorities to the Quaffle game.
Robin Ju, the chaser on the play, does get beat. Indianapolis still with bludger control, looking to get on offense. And
Smithson's just getting no shots, even 15, 20 seconds at a time with the Snitch, because Indy's only beating him out on the offensive side. Digman is now out of the game. He's been the big scoring threat for them so far in this Snitch on pitch period.
But with Cole Collins, one bludger to beat, and I think he lost sight, thinking that maybe they went to the seeker game, and turns it over. I mean, the first play without Digman, not too great, but Indianapolis, they just need to settle in, continue doing what they do best.
Yep, and Smithson is going to take the sub. Matt Bunn is going to look to get that grab here for Toronto. Meanwhile, Monica Marion is now subbed in at seeker for Indianapolis.
Melchior just getting wrapped up at the top of the key, has to throw the quaffle and does not get the throw he wants, ends up rolling into the middle of the pitch.
And, the issue for the Toronto Seekers is that, there's definitely you need some length, I think, in the Snitch matchup, and they're both technically sound, but then there's not a ton of length in their seeker game.
Murphy able to get the quaffle off before the beat. Collins, though, not so lucky. Indianapolis maintaining possession, at least for now. The hit preventing the reset, I think, for the moment.
Yeah,
quaffle back again.
But the problem is, ever since Digman subbed out of the game, Indianapolis has not been able to find goals on the offensive side, which is just giving Toronto more and more time with the Snitch. I just don't know if it's ever going to end up resulting in a catch. I mean, I guess eventually there's a good chance it will.
Yeah, Snitch fatigue is real.
Yeah, it is.
It's the only participant on the field that does not have a sub. So, and his hands go to knees. It might be more true than we thought. And given the time that Toronto's had, I mean, it's a war of attrition. Toronto can send player after player after this Snitch, and he's out there all on his own. But with these stoppages, I know last week in talking with Adil, he wasn't caught in any of the 3 games, but mentioned that without the stoppages, he's caught in all 3. So they really do make an impact here. And if you're Toronto, I think you're looking for a long, extended gameplay.
Yeah, and if you're Digman here, maybe figure talking to the head ref just buys that Snitch a few extra minutes to rest.
Oh, my goodness. Okay. Now we're getting into it.
That's gamesmanship right there.
Yeah. Master class of Quidditch, every inch.
So there's no call on the play. It was the loose ball that was eventually recovered by Indy in the middle of the field.
Scherzer tagging up. Toronto with one bludger, and that's in the hands of Brittany Kahane. Kahane.
So Digman back in the game, looking to add to his total. He's got 5 of this team's 9 goals so far.
Matthew Brown solo bludger up in the offense with Indianapolis. I mean, if you're Toronto, perhaps you seed the goal and really invest into trying to make that bludger turnover, because that feels like the only opportunity to really get back into this game. Oh, a great goaltended block.
And Custers gets down on the loose ball as well to get the keeper's own call. A big play there by Custers, 2 straight plays. Bunn is still in at seeker, still getting opportunities. It'll be interesting to see when he subs back out, because what you're talking about, kind of wearing down a Snitch. The more subs you get, the more fresh minutes you're giving to that Snitch.
Yeah. Custers with the pass is completed. Pass back, though. Great job. Defense having to space out a little more. Almost there, though. The defense from Indianapolis, though, in the second half has been stout. Covering every pass opportunity. Nobody's had an option to really make a move.
Yeah, I mean, in part, that's been that bludger control. They're just sitting in the middle. They're forcing very, very long passes. I mean, I was honestly impressed that Paige Hare was even able to get that second pass off to avoid the turnover on what was a bit of a hospital pass across the zone there by Custers.
Fatigue setting in potentially.
Oh, but Toronto is going to get bailed out by a card here. I don't know if it was
the first card of the game.
Yeah, I think it's Joey Shea. It must have been the hit on Hare there. I missed I turned my eyes away.
Well, with those long passes like that, you have to. I mean, the resulting play is always on the receiving end there, and Shea potentially a little late.
Yeah, and as we mentioned, first card of the game, which really speaks to, for how physical Toronto's been, they're physical in a very clean way.
Yeah.
Bun's still in the secret game. We'll see when they go back to Smithson or if they have other ideas. But a catch would be huge here. A catch and a goal, if they can get the power play goal as well, would just even us right back up. And Michael Howard's, I believe, no, it is Custer still in the game.
Yeah, now those long passes are going to work a little more. You've got 2 open chasers, or you should at least, but it's the zone play that's making it happen. And now the shot is good, just the defense falling asleep there, and it's Devin Dutt with a great cut and shot.
Yeah, now a catch would tie it up. Bun is going to sub out Smithson back into the game.
Okay, Scherzer able to get bludger control as well. Toronto on the up and up here.
Yeah, I think Scherzer just slightly smooth, fresher legs has been a positive factor for them here.
Scherzer, though, does get the beat on the quaffle carrier, but the pass is made and they lose bludger control for it. And now Digman back in the play after tagging up. Head ref Matt Melton with some good defense as well.
Yeah, and just to kind of speak to, Indianapolis's depth concerns, it is Riley Andrews now in the quaffle game, which means he has played everything but keeper for this team in this game.
Yeah. I mean, that's something Nathan Digman at the beginning was talking about. The great pass and shot. Looking for a call potentially, but, I mean, that is just a beautiful execution on a half-court play, the best we've seen all day.
Yeah, I mean, that is clean, well-drilled catch and release there from Riley Andrews. That ball was not in his hands for more than a second. I don't think it was quite the volleyball push, but it was close. We'll wait on the call. Andrew definitely very confident that he put that one through.
That's the epitome of this team. I mean, despite all of the personnel that they're missing, it's just confidence on the side of Indianapolis, and we're seeing exactly why. They're executing at a really high level.
So Toronto's exchanging goals, which generally would be okay if they could eventually catch a snitch, but the problem is they're running out of runway because Indy only needs 3 more goals at this point to put this game away.
Yeah, and this snitch is not getting any fresher, that's for sure. At any moment, the game is becoming more and more volatile as time goes on. Toronto had bludger control for maybe half of a possession, but after losing that, Indianapolis sitting back on that control, happy to let the game come to them.
Smithson's going to get some free time here, though he is being blocked off by Marion.
Emma Sherwood with the bludger on the offensive end for Toronto, looking to get bludger control back, clear the way. Now they look to attack. There, the beat is made, but it's on both there. Toronto beaters all having to tag up in the quaffle just to buy some time, gets passed down to the hoops. Now going the other way, it's a fast break. No bludgers on the side of Toronto. 2 pass options here. We've got Murphy on the close side, but it's Collins that gets the pass, and Murphy has to clean it up. Collins now at the top of the key. Not the best pass out of Riley Andrews, and now potentially no shot.
I'm going to be kind and say that it's probably the position he's practiced third most since coming back from injury because he had 2 wide open passing options that he didn't see for 1 second on that fast break.
Yeah, Ellie Manzella and Murphy's on the close side, just hoping, but screaming down the field. You're looking for the bludgers potentially, and there's a lot to pay attention to. And Riley, like you said, maybe not as practiced.
Yeah, and I was a little disappointed by Custers on that last play, having to give that turnover instead of being able to successfully use a reset. He and Devin Dutt did not seem to be on the same page, but now he's looking to get in the lane.
The shot is good. They call it good. Custer's a crucial goal there to keep them in this game now. Maybe a little more life in the secret game as they find themselves in a better position. And
now Smithson really pressing. A catch would tie us up, but they can't seem to find that opportunity. Hannah Miller, I believe, has now stepped in as the seeker for Indianapolis, but is debroomed.
And if Indianapolis can catch this snitch, the game is over. We need to stress this. I mean, Toronto has to invest a lot in the seeker game, knowing that it could end at any moment.
Derek Taylor now the 3rd seeker into the game for Toronto.
And Indy is just so content passing this quaffle around, giving their seekers as much time as possible.
Taylor, fresh legs, getting some good looks right off the bat, but is having to go through an opponent because he cannot get beater help right now.
Digman looking for the shot, does not get the home field roll, but the recovery
You know, Devin Dutt batted that one back towards his hoops. That was kind of like the soccer pass across the box on defense. It was definitely asking for trouble, and Digman and I believe it was Custers both went diving for it.
Yeah. Team's calling for water now.
Yeah, I mean, the snitch on pitch periods like this are exhausting because they don't have those lulls that, you know, general first 20 minutes Seeker floor time does. It's just kind of constant action. And, you know, with the depth issues we've highlighted on both these sides, I think it's starting to show a little bit.
Yeah, Digman favoring that left hand, potentially just got it rolled into when looking for that quaffle.
Yeah, I mean, we see. Okay, so basically things got real scrappy on the ground off of that play. Digman and I believe Custers are both headed to the box.
Yeah. Unsportsmanlike was the call there from Matt Melton.
Were they red cards? No.
No. Yellow cards.
Oh, it's just that Digman, because of the injury, is
Yeah.
not going to serve his own penalty time.
Yeah. All right.
And as we said, Custers also goes in. But, yeah, definitely things getting scrappy. I mean, those both players both went hard in for that contact. Yeah, unsporting contact. So 100-70, 6 points needed for Toronto, 3 points needed for Indy. But Indy has not scored like they were early on in this snitch on pitch period. And with Digman off the field again, I mean, that's really been their only source of goals in this period.
Yeah, and we're kind of cutting back to, you know, the classic off-season Quidditch. It's a 5-on-5. You just had as many players as you could get on the field, and this is where all the game plans kind of go out the window, and there's a lot more space than you're used to having.
That said, what I'd like to do, I think Derek Taylor's looked pretty good in a couple shots. I think the snitch might be getting a little tired out there.
Yeah.
I'd like to see a slow possession where they can actually get rid of, I think if it's Hannah Miller still out there at Seeker for Indianapolis, and maybe take a couple shots at the snitch on an extended offensive possession.
Yeah. Definitely the game plan, but it's Toronto with a quaffle, which means that likely they cannot dictate the pace as much as they would like. If Toronto can use this opportunity to create a volatility in the beater game, perhaps they can get a goal and close this gap a little more, which, I mean, it still feels like, though, they have to get this snitch to stay in the running for this game.
Yeah, and a reminder, this is a best 2 out of 3. The winner of this series qualifies for MLQ Championship, secures the 3 seed out of the North. The loser will have to play tomorrow to try to get the 4 seed and the last spot from the North Division at MLQ Championship.
All right, Toronto with 1 bludger, Indianapolis with 2.
And they are going to clear out some time for Taylor.
Peachy and J-Ram with the bludgers on the defensive side for Indianapolis. If Toronto can get one of those, they're going to be happier there. Oh, the immunity was a little late from Toronto. They get 1 bludger back, but they don't get the second. Indianapolis screaming down the field. Cole Collins with the pump fake and the shot. Now they are 2 goals away from winning this game.
Yeah, and that was just domination from the beating game on the side of Indy. We've seen it on and off all day. Just really created that goal for Collins.
Not much left on the power play here. Joey Shea looking to come back into this game once the time is served. If you're Toronto, you want to use this opportunities while you're up a player to get this goal.
Riley Andrew now back in at Seeker once again for Indy. Melchior, who we haven't seen for a while, I wonder if he picked up a knock somewhere in the game, but throws a iffy pass there.
Toronto, all the bludgers are on the ground right now. They do get 1 back, but it's going to be a little too late. Cole Collins looks for the 12-yard shot and does not get it. Perhaps heard the bludger coming.
That's the second time we've seen that from Collins in this game, getting a little trigger happy in transition when he had more space, as McCoo just loses another exchange with Peachy, but is able to be cleaned up. Taylor's getting a lot of time. Taylor shoots behind, can't quite get it. Here's in again, definitely getting closer and closer.
Melchior, though, driving through the team and does get the goal, standing through the defense of the Indianapolis intensity.
All right, so just an illegal contact here on Collins. Will serve no time because of the goal. But, yeah, Indy's creeping closer, but Toronto's still getting that shot at the snitch, and 1 catch, and we're basically playing an even game.
And if Toronto can get 2 more goals, and catch the snitch, game's over.
Yeah.
So they're very realistic. They have to score 2 goals before Indy does.
Yep.
Is big, though.
Yeah, of course. And, it's been exchanging. They have struggled to get that edge, so we'll see if they can get it. It's probably going to need to come in the beating game. Toronto does take a chance to clear out. Is going to give Taylor another shot here.
And they've got bludger control. Toronto, this is exactly what you're looking for.
And they're going to get a sub, Scherzer, who was really good earlier in the period.
It feels like this is his game in that sense. It's such a high energy, a lot of momentum coming through with this kind of player. And on Snitch on pitch, that's exactly what you're looking for. Oh, the bludger does not go back, actually getting
real
friendly
bad
fire.
luck.
Yeah. Digman has to pass back. What a heads-up play.
Yeah, I'm surprised he saw that beater.
Yeah, where the beater is, knowing that Murphy is right there for the outlet as well. I mean, experience paying off. Indianapolis, I mean, they talk about it a lot, that they're very comfortable playing with each other, and, I mean, that was a great example of that.
Yeah, I mean, this is Digman's game right now. You know he wants to put this one away.
Holmes with a great spot, though, on the close side hoop. Oh, Joey Shea not able to get the quaffle. I think if they're able to pick up that quaffle and see Holmes on the close side, that's a goal for Indy, and we're 1 away from a win.
Yeah, and fresh legs again going to come in here for Toronto. I think it's going to be Matt Bunn re-entering the game at seeker.
I love to see the high fives, too. The Matt Bunn hyping up the teammates as he goes in.
Ooh, as an iffy pass goes awry here for Toronto. It's going to be a pile-up.
And play is stopped.
Yep. Quick conversation with the AR, but it's going to be an interesting one here to see how this plays out. Obviously, as you mentioned, I don't think Toronto can win this game at this point without a snitch grab.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a real question of can they wear that snitch down. So what once was a card-free game is quickly becoming a very card-heavy game. Going to be 2 calls on the play. On the side of Toronto, it's going to be for interacting with a bludger with, I believe, a quaffle. And on the side of Indianapolis, it's going to be Matt Brown for making ref calls. And that's a big penalty for Indianapolis to pick up here.
Yeah, we kind of flash back to the year 2000, we're going into the game store, you're looking at your favorite Pokemon cards, and you're trying to collect everything you can. It looks like the team's taking that same mentality here. But it's just because of the game. It's the intensity, no pun intended, I do that every time, of this end game and how much it means to these teams. I mean, it's championships on the line.
Yep. And they're going to have to discuss what happens to this quaffle here. But, I mean, a chaser penalty versus a beater penalty, that's not close. That favors the chaser penalty. The team who has the chaser penalty.
Yeah, these are not it's a holographic card versus just some basic, And you definitely favor one over the other.
So the ball is given back to Toronto, but an immediate wrap.
Okay, now the bludgers are flying. Scherzer trading constantly here with Mary Owen. Another stoppage. Not for long, though. Quaffle over to Melchior. Melchior scoring on the last possession with some great physical play. Mary Owen stopping that play there. You can't drive through a bludger, but when there's nothing on the other side, this is what Melchior's looking for. The spin move, the pump fake, the dunk on the top. Melchior, you're a madman.
And now Bunn, a catch would give them the lead. It would put them 1 goal away from a win. Looking to go high, looking to go any way he can. Just can't seem to get around this snitch. And Matt Brown is going to get into the play and get rid of him. But, Indianapolis is going to need to find goals as well, and now they do have the advantage. Of course, Matt Brown coming back into the play because of the goal, while Michael Howard remains in the penalty box.
Digman now looking for the pass.
All right.
An eligible player just trying to tag up.
Yeah, Paige Hare was beat and had not gotten out of the way of that ball, but also wasn't necessarily moving into it. So it's going to be a tricky call for the refs to make here.
I think the way that it looked, I mean, you put your hands up, you signify, like, I'm not in the play. I'm just, trying to get to that middle hoop. This a rule change from 2 years ago, having to tag up on that middle hoop, kind of favoring Toronto if it's a no call.
Yep.
Oh, sorry. I'm just on my way. Got to tag in. I'm just playing some friendly Quidditch, and it doesn't show up on the stat board, but that's a block.
Yeah, and luckily we've got a great ref crew out here today to figure this all out. We've got a lot more action out here today to come. This is just game one of the Toronto-Minneapolis series, and we've got 3 games of Detroit versus Cleveland as well. That's going to be a super fun series as well. 2 teams that know each other inside and out, playing an elimination game, one of the first elimination games of the season here in MLQ. So a lot still to take in, but first we're going to see what Matt Melton has to make on this call.
Yeah, and the teams are even the like you said, Detroit and Cleveland. They're invested in this game too. They know that if they win their series one against the other, they play the loser of this one tomorrow. And so not only are you taking some notes here, but I mean it's just a great game as we get into this in game. It's a 20-point lead here for Indianapolis, 2 points away from that win. And yes, it was called an ineligible player.
Yep. And so now Toronto has 2 in the box, and it looks like Kenny Murphy is about to freely finish. Can't tell from our angle how much of a chance Custers has of stopping this one.
I mean, it's tough. Murphy is an incredibly experienced scorer. The pump? No, dislodge.
Oh, was she not beat? Oh, wow.
I don't believe so. Murphy does maintain the quaffle, though.
It is still a 4-on-2, though, in the quaffle game.
And Digman has no problem exploiting that. Another goal here.
Yeah, I got to imagine that's why Murphy was a little more comfortable pulling that one back because, eventually the numbers advantage was going to bear out. So now Indianapolis just needs the 1 goal. Toronto needs 1 goal and a snitch grab, hypothetically.
That train catching the very end of what looks to be the first game of the North Division Championships.
Robin Zhu is now in the game at Seeker for Toronto.
Bludgers on the ground. An opportunity. The shot, though, nobody in the backside is able to get the quaffle, and it's a turnover for Toronto. Indianapolis looking to score, looking to end this game on 1 possession right here.
Yep.
Riley Andrews.
And they're doing it with bludger control, too.
Yep.
Matt Brown getting rid of Zoo. Not going to risk something going awry here in the Seeker game.
Murphy, ball handling for this final possession potentially. Back to Digman. On the close side here, we've got Ellie Manzella, but maybe not. It's Riley on the shot. The touch recovery bounced off the ground, dribbling it through the lane, gets it on the medium-sized hoop, and that's game 1, Indianapolis.
Yeah, that's a huge finish there from Andrews. Doesn't handle it cleanly as well, but 1 smooth scoop and push shot puts this one away. Really even play all the way down the stretch there after the 20-minute mark. It's just that Toronto couldn't come up with that snitch grab when they needed it.
Man, it has felt like the story of this North Division. They get into this in game and it always tightens up. Even last week, Indianapolis came back from what was, I think, like a 90-point deficit to almost win that game 3 against Minneapolis. And we get another one here, Toronto clawing back into this game. You're never out. And, yeah, I mean, the snitch, although they weren't caught, it feels like come game 2 or 3, the snitch is going to decide everything.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. We got a lot more action to go, so we're going to throw to a break here. I'm Ethan Sturm alongside Reed Marchman. Thank you for watching. We'll be right back for Game 1 of Detroit versus Cleveland here on the MLQ Network. Hello and welcome back for another game of the North Division Championships. Today, in this one, we're featuring the 5th place matchup between the Detroit Innovators and the Cleveland Riff. Loser of this best 2 out of 3 goes home for the season. The winner gets to come back tomorrow and fight for a spot. We just saw a really good game of Quidditch in the first one. Jack, what are you looking for in this one?
Yeah, I'm excited to see these two teams with a ton of familiarity, both with many members from the Ohio Apollos program in the USQ season going head-to-head. Familiarity often breeds close games in Quidditch, so I'm excited to see how these two teams fight it out with elimination on the line.
Yeah, and both teams talked a lot about in the pregame the ideas of both knowing what the other one tends to like to do, but also trying to throw in some curveballs. Cleveland mentioned a lot about potentially running a hoop zone and possibly running the likes of Melinda Stop and Carrie Britson up at the top of it. Detroit, said, we see the temptation to run a hoop zone, but at the same time, we're really comfortable in our 2-2. It's what we've been throwing out there. So it'll be interesting to see how those things evolve as the series goes on. We got starting lineups going, beginning to take shape, so we're going to throw it over to the field, and we can see who these teams are starting. On the Cleveland side, looks like Kyle Dawson and Ben Strauss will be starting in the beating game. Fiona Gaffney alongside Melinda Stop. We're still waiting for a player on the Cleveland side. Kind of the same state on the Detroit side as we're getting ready to go. Looks like head coach Kagan Madeline will be getting the start. The starting pair of...
That's Ryan Sue and Ray Brodeur for the Innovators.
The University of Michigan pair that, when we were talking to Kagan, but before the game they mentioned, they kind of tried to mix things up in the beater game, and this pair, who's been practicing together all season with their college, is the pair that really stuck. Emma Vasquez is also getting the start on that side. John Gaffigan is the remaining chaser from the Cleveland side, and then we just need a couple more IDs on the Detroit side, and we're just about ready to get going.
Yeah, Gaffigan in there at chaser with Peter Brechting for the Riff. They've been a really effective combination of drivers for Cleveland. Very adept at the drive and dish game that was putting points on the board earlier in the season.
Yeah, and talking to Gabe Boris, head coach, before the game, they were really excited to see that connection, which has kind of developed over the course of this whole season, really come to fruition. Jack Levi also getting the start here for Detroit. And I believe it is Akash Sriniva who's the remaining starter for Detroit.
Yeah, Srinivasan from the Purdue program, an up-and-coming program in the Midwest region. Technically Great Lakes, but I believe they're looking to go official again this season. Really exciting to see Purdue back with such a strong core.
Yeah, and I think that's an overlying story in this North Division. You think of the Minneapolis program and the way it pulls so much from Minnesota as well. These are programs that are trying to make their way back into competitive college Quidditch and once again become the pipeline for these North Division teams, so many of whom are just keep stressing that they're young teams, that they're developing teams. It's going to be fun to watch it all unfold. We're about to get ready here. I think it's going to be Madeline running against Gaffigan or Brechting for quaffle control. Head ref Chris Lecomte on the game here, and we are off. It is going to be Gaffigan and Madeline running. Madeline gets there first. Finds Srinivasan, who shoots from behind, can't get to fall, and Gaffigan's going to get on top of it.
Oh, almost there. Srinivasan has so much speed, but just wasn't able to find the hoop.
Gaffigan, drive and dish specialist, going up against this 2-2 zone here. Gaffigan unleashed one towards Brechting, but easily cleaning that one up is Ray Brodeur.
Yeah, and that's a good sign right off the bat from the Innovators starting beating core, just snuffing out danger behind the hoops, patrolling the keeper zone. That's what you can expect from Ryan Sue and Ray Brodeur. Ray Brodeur with the key play there.
Nathan Clemente immediately coming in for Madeline. Madeline was just running the brooms up, and now it's Levi with the ball on the left, Vasquez with it up top. Goes over to Clemente. Srinivasan is the one playing behind in this kind of three-top role that we've seen so much out of top teams in recent years. Sue makes a beat there. It's going to be swung around. is going to be Levi driving the lane, but a big hand up from Brechting knocks it down. Loose ball here. Clemente's trying to get there. The beat, though, comes across from Dawson, and it's going to be picked up by Cleveland. The defense holds once again.
Yeah, great play from the Cleveland beaters, Strauss and Dawson. The Riff were they were missing some key pieces in the Toronto series to start the season. Great to see them with a full beater core today and paying dividends early.
Yeah, talking to the coaching staff, and they said they have a lot of beaters this weekend, and they're going to be using a lot of subs to keep fresh and try to use that energy advantage to their advantage. Gaffigan in the lane. You can't let him get all the way down to the keeper's own line, or he is going to uncork one right through the top hoop. 10-0 Cleveland.
Yeah, a vintage play from John Gaffigan, who's been doing that for so long. Detroit is going to have to tighten up their hoop defense because Gaffigan will take that shot all day long.
Yeah, and Sue and Brodeur really have their work cut out for them against Ben Strauss here, who's been all over. Originally an App State product, played for the Warriors, played in some huge games there, and we'll see how that matches up. But in the meantime, Levi's got the ball, looking to drive, goes across to Vasquez instead. Vasquez now working on stop. That hoop zone we were talking about. But Strauss pushes way high out of it. Does get out of position, though. Now Levi has the ball in the lane. Srinivasan has the ball. Coming over the top of the hoops, though, is Brechting. Brechting gets the stop.
Great defensive recovery from Brechting. That's the kind of swarming defense around the hoops that the Riff are going to have to bring to close off danger for the Innovators offense.
And, Boris said they broke out the hoop zone against Rochester, and there was still not much fluidity to it, and it wasn't really functioning. So they've drilled that a lot, and we saw that kind of shifting over there that got the job done. Now the ball is with Brechting. Brechting pump fake to get into the lane, throws it, though, off the tee of the hoop, and Srinivasan's going to come up with it.
That's a big missed opportunity for Brechting and the Riff. The beaters for Detroit were completely out of the play, chasing down Bludgers. Sue was pressing. Brodeur was on the other side of the pitch, and Brechting just wasn't able to finish over a smaller defender. He'll want that one back.
Yeah, and a potentially heads-up play there by Brechting. Yes, it is going to result in a turnover. Clemente wasn't really paying attention as they came into possession of the quaffle, stepped right across the keeper zone. Nobody stepped to Brechting to make a beat, so he just pushed him right back across the keeper zone line. That is a turnover in MLQ rules this season, and it's just going to be a free possession here for Cleveland.
Yeah, it makes up for the mistake with a really heads-up play. We've seen that a couple times today already. Defenders using the keeper zone line to force turnovers.
Oh, and Strauss making life miserable here for Brodeur. But Gaffigan, a lazy pass in the general direction of Brechting is going to result in a turnover.
Yeah, we touted the chemistry between the two just as the game was about to begin, and it's not quite clicking here yet today.
Yeah. The one goal from Gaffigan, the only difference in this one. Ben Strauss, it looks like he might be asking for a sub. He has been dominating this game so far. Clemente bringing the ball down. Over to Levi and Vasquez. These three are so far up above this hoop zone that Cleveland's not even being stressed by it. Ben Strauss is stepping up, but basically nobody else. One to stop, still on the edge of her keeper's own line. A missed beat there by Strauss. Should mean a change in bludger control. It will as Brodeur goes to clean it up. Nice dodge there by Sue. In the meantime, Vasquez drives in the lane, but just ends up dumping it back off to Levi.
Yeah, great play by Sue there to draw the bludger
Oh,
from
and then
Strauss.
again.
Just drew a bludger from the other beater, Howe.
Oh, but it's a loose ball on the ground, and I think the call is going to go against Brechting here for holding on to a player who was not in possession of the quaffle.
Yeah, that's going to be the call, and Detroit is going to have a chance to score from the back now. It's going to be Srinivasan, I think.
Yeah, and it might be Srinivasan's goal, but if you do convert it, a very large assist belongs to Ryan Sue, who dodged two bludgers on this possession alone to create both bludger control and then the no bludger situation.
Yeah, his activity is something that stood out to me all the way back at Great Lakes Regionals in the fall. He's just all over the pitch, and that forced a couple throws from the Cleveland beaters.
Srinivasan doesn't even bother to go to the hoop, saw the open hoop and takes it. The mid-range shot falls. We are all knotted up at one off of the power play goal for Srinivasan.
Yeah, a really good start for Srinivasan, using the spaces behind the hoops effectively, forcing the Riff to pay attention to those spaces and finishing.
Yeah. Ben Strauss can't make a beat there, fall, but then uses a tackle on Sue when he's out of position to change bludger control. That's going to allow Gaffigan to hit the lane, goes across, finds Gabe Boris. Gabe Boris finishes over Levi, but there is a call on the play. Unclear, but I think part of the issue might have been that Ben Strauss was the one who originally put their fist up to track down that ball after his initial miss. He then changed into a play where he was holding back Sue as his teammate was cleaning up bludger control. I think he's going to get called for that. I think that's going to turn the goal over, and that is the call coming from head ref Chris Lecomte.
Yeah, that's unfortunate because it was a nice finish from Boris. Stylish, and a sign that maybe the Riff are starting to figure things out on the offensive end. They'll look to get things right on the next possession.
Yeah, it is now Austin Howe, the co-head coach and the lead beater coach for this Cleveland Riff team that is alone as the only beater up against the pair of Sue and Brodeur, though I think Brodeur might be subbing out at this moment. Nope, she's still in the game. It is, though, a one exchange and a huge way from Howe. Howe is now keeping bludger control by himself.
Yeah, that's a fantastic play by Austin Howe and a huge swing of momentum because now he's going to be able to chuck the other one and hold on to the remaining bludger while Sue chases down the third.
Right, and while ultimately that doesn't mean bludger control or anything like that, it means that Detroit used a lot of their power play just now. Yes, Ben Strauss back into the game, so a huge play by Howe there. On the near side, it is Pratt now into the game. Swings it back up to Clemente. Clemente over to Mueller. Back to Clemente, who's now hitting the zone. Gets attacked heavily by Britson. Goes behind to Mueller. Mueller's shot is knocked down by this hoop zone.
Yeah, Mueller just tried to force it there. He's got to know better that the Riff are playing a hoop zone, and he can't take that mid-range shot against Cleveland.
Yeah, it's a no-bludger situation going the other way. Gaffigan drives through two, puts one past. The physicality of Detroit not quite holding up on that possession. Gaffigan gets his second, and it's a 2-1 lead for Cleveland.
Yeah, somebody for the Innovators has got to step up and make that hit, or Gaffigan's going to be running circles on them all day. He's a very direct player. He's going to take the ball to the hoops, and somebody has to stop him.
Yep, we do get our first subs in the beater game here for Detroit. David Weir coming into the game. Tries to take an exchange right away. And Banis is able to, I believe, get bludger control out of this. But in the meantime, goal is scored by head coach Kay Madeline, and we're knotted up at 2.
Yeah, great play by Kagan Madeline. Not a position you usually see him in. Madeline usually plays more on the wings or behind the hoops. But today, subbing into the game and just taking the ball right down Main Street for the goal.
Yep. Another substitution now coming in the beater game for Cleveland. Ben Strauss has finally left. Jillian DeKeel now in. Loose ball on the ground. Gaffigan rips one, gets the goal ref to signal good goal, but I think Chris Lecomte had a better view at it. Is going to lay it down. Now there's chaos in the beater game. It's Banis winning in a big way again. It's now no bludger situation against Cleveland.
Yeah, this is an opportunity that they have to capitalize on.
And the ball goes across. It's Pratt and Madeline just playing catch in a no-bludger situation. It is going to eventually get to Madeline, but finally back into the play is DeKeel. And it's going to be a pile-up near the hoops, and the only bludger around belongs to Cleveland. Missed opportunity. It seemed like neither of the pair of Madeline or Pratt really wanted to drive that one in.
Yeah, and Mower making a great play on Gaffigan. That's one way to stop the fast break, just to make your presence felt in the keeper zone, too, and slow down the Cleveland Riff fast break.
We're going to get a stoppage. Looks like assistant ref Christian Barnes might have seen some illegal contact. Wants to talk it over with head ref Chris Lecomte. We're here in game 1 of our series between the Detroit Innovators and Cleveland Riff. It's best 2 out of 3. Loser goes home. Their MLQ season has come to an end. Winner gets a chance tomorrow to play for the 4th spot in the North Division. It's going to be Mueller head to the box, just as you praised him. Some around-the-neck contact on that pile-up.
Yeah, unfortunate for Mueller.
And I think we're going to get a timeout here as well.
Yeah, this will be a good chance for the teams to talk about what's worked, what hasn't. It's 2020 so far, and both teams have left some opportunities out on the pitch, have also figured out some things that have worked. What are you seeing so far, Ethan?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's really been a lot about the beater game because most of these goals have been coming in transition, and, you know, it's those no-bludger opportunities. We saw a really good first shift there from Cleveland, but now we've seen the combination of Weir and Banis start to get control back over the game. Of course, that foul is going to kind of stunt some of that momentum. But it's really going to come down to, and it's similar to what we saw in the game 1, who is willing to kind of finish through traffic, finish through contact. We saw Madeline do it on one end. We saw Gaffigan do it on the other. We also seen some examples of whether it's, Mueller not taking that extra step against the hoop zone a couple possessions back, or that play where Pratt and Madeline both didn't seem to really want to hit the lane. Who's going to step up? Who's going to put some balls through? Because the opportunities definitely are there so far in this game.
Yeah, I think it's a great point about the beater game. We've seen momentum kind of swing back and forth, and the question that I have is who's going to be able to sustain a longer period of bludger control and put together a run. Maybe it'll be Banis and we are right here.
Yep. So we're going to get back to the action here. 2020, early in game 1 of our series between Cleveland and Detroit. The foul, I assume, will result in, Cleveland possession and a power play opportunity. Chris Comp about to get us started here again. Gaffigan still hasn't subbed out of this game.
He's going to put in heavy minutes this weekend, I think.
Heavy minutes is a dad as well. He is on dad duty all weekend, and his 1-year-old son is at the event as well.
Love the parents in MLQ. Just blows my mind how they're able to do it.
So it's Carrie Britson and Fiona Gaffney passing back and forth up top before eventually giving it back to Gaffigan. An attempt made for bludger control to no avail. Banis presses high, wins an exchange with Howe. That's going to allow for a press. They try to throw behind the press, but Carrie Britson can't come up with it cleanly. It's a pileup that is definitely going to eventually end in Detroit possession. But I think Cleveland's going to use the full 10 seconds to there's no bludger break the other way.
Yeah, uncharacteristic of Carrie Britson there. Usually someone with sure hands, a great finisher around the hoops, comfortable moving with the ball. She'll look to work her way in through the weekend and make up for that misstep right there.
Yeah, so Banis and Weir are the two veterans of the CMU program, now defunct CMU program, sadly, definitely making their name for themselves so far in this one, really dominating the pair of Howe and DeKeel. Pratt gets the ball down the right wing, back across to Mueller. Mueller now has it up top. Madeline's an option behind, and he is going to find him. Back up to Mueller. Just working that one side. Now Madeline's looking to drive, goes high on Boris, gets one up in the air to Mueller, and Mueller is able to take it down and put it through with authority. Detroit's got its first lead of the game, 30-20.
And that's what I wanted to see from Mueller. Just using his size to get the ball all the way through the hoops, not relying on a shot against a hoop defense. Much more like it from the Detroit Innovators.
And now it's going to be a press right off of that. Gaffigan's got nowhere to go, and Madeline's just going to shove him right back across the keeper zone line. And a lot of hype here from Detroit, and it's all stemming from that dominant beater play right now.
Absolutely, and I just love the energy between Gwen Pratt and Kagan Madeline. This Detroit team is feeling good early.
Madeline not going to rush into the zone there, as I think this high press might have finally, resulted in bludger control to Cleveland. Howe's going to throw one back. Looking for a call. His Banis not going to get one. Oh, now might get one. If that's going to be a call against Howe, that is just a really unfortunate play right after they had successfully finally gotten bludger control from the combination of Weir and Banis.
Yeah, they're gonna. If you're right, they will have missed a chance to kind of find their way back into the game, and Detroit will have the opportunity.
Yep, so this is going to be the double bludger turnover. There it goes. And, it's something you see sometimes in the beater game when things are getting really rushed and, high-paced. You just get too cute by half. They done all the hard part. And, he didn't really need to delay how long it was going to take for Detroit to eventually get their one bludger. But doing so now causes them to lose both. So the ball's with Madeline. No pressure. The player right in front of him is Howe. So we will get back-started play. Detroit up 3-2. Looking to make something here with bludger control. Once away, Howe is trying to press. No, it is going to be a beat there from Weir. Now both beaters are in the lane, clearing out Keel. A floater up to Mueller. Mueller just keeps winning that size battle around the hoops, puts it through his second 4-2 Detroit.
And there it is again. Cleveland's going to need to find an answer for that pass if Detroit is going to keep running with it. Maybe shade a beater back as Gaffigan runs down the other end.
Yeah, the beater's overcommitted for Detroit, creates a no bludger situation, and for the second time we've seen this game, nobody seems to want to put or can put John Gaffigan into the ground.
Yeah, and that one falls on the Detroit beaters, I think. They have to get back into the play. I didn't see exactly what happened in the beater game, but I saw Banis retrieving a bludger from way behind the hoops. They have to know with Gaffigan in the game not to lose their single bludger that easily.
Rand Barnes now into the game for the first time for Cleveland alongside Rob Beaton. They're able to create a chance to press here, I believe. Barnes is going to beat Jeanette High. Pass goes behind to Madeline. Madeline now working on Gaffigan. Gaffigan not known for his physicality, not going to have to do anything there. I think that's going to be called a pass back across half with no target. Though I thought the idea was a shot there, but that's not going to be the call here from the ref staff.
Yeah, I think that's the right call. I think Mower is beat out of was playing a more high defense at times, and when Gaffigan or Brechting was able to break those first lines, then some spaces started to open up, but the more densely packed Innovators defense paying dividends here.
A beautiful dodge there by Barnes on a low beat attempt by Sue, but not really a press opportunity for Cleveland. Another great block by Barnes. We haven't seen a ton of Barnes this season, but we knew coming in from her time with Bowling Green that she can be a threat on the pitch.
Yeah, for sure. It's great to see her back on the pitch for the Riff. She's such a key player for their program.
Yeah. The problem is it doesn't seem like Cleveland really has a way in their deep-setting hoop defense to press off of these wins by their beaters, because their beaters are consistently winning on this possession, but Detroit hasn't even been forced to use its reset yet.
Yeah, that's a really good point. And you would like to see, as the tournament goes on, the Rift start to realize that, because right now, yeah, it's just Carrie Britson chasing around the quaffle at the top.
Yep. So Clemente gets into the lane, finds a teammate, and putting it through is Srinivasan, his second of the day.
Yeah, back on the pitch and right away, an immediate impact from Srinivasan. He's proving early on that he is a player that they need to have on the pitch.
Yeah, 6-3 the score as we move past the 15-minute mark of play. Definitely going to be interesting to see how these teams handle the seeker game as well. Each team only has one grab to their name, kind of a overall storyline trend throughout this North Division. Both, maybe not the strongest seeking teams, but also speaks to the talent of the Snitches in this division. Gaffigan in the lane, rips one through the middle hoop. That is his shot. It's Ben Strauss coming right back into the game. Some activity finally on the beating side of Cleveland. And, of course, Gaffigan, who I do not believe has subbed out of this game in 16 minutes, who now has his fourth.
Yeah, just an incredible performance from John Gaffigan early. But at some point, Cleveland is going to have to figure out who else can score for them today.
Gaffigan is subscribing to the Jake Archibald school of how to stay on a pitch for a very long time. He is playing a very low – I would say he hasn't run for more than 30 seconds of those 16 minutes.
For sure, that's one way to conserve energy.
Clemente with the ball. Emma Vasquez now back in the game alongside him and is going to take the pass. And across the Levi, it's the starting chasing line from Detroit that we saw. A nice dodge there out of Kyle Dawson. Can they press off of it? They will. And it's going to be Gaffigan stepping all the way up. Finally, we see that press, and it's a long beat by Ben Strauss, forces the turnover. Does Gaffigan have anywhere to go? There's no bludgers. He's able to get his shoulder in front of Levi, now into the lane. I don't think anybody's going to get a hand on him. No, it's Gaffigan, the two-arm put-through. He finally ran a little bit up on that high press, and he was rewarded with a goal.
Yeah, it paid off. But Detroit had 4 bodies back, I think, and no one was able to get a wrap. If they want to stop Gaffigan, they're going to need to step up and make a hit.
Yeah, I will say Gaffigan looks like he might have taken a hit there. He looks like he slowed down. I wouldn't be surprised if we see his first sub of the day in a possession or two.
Yeah, we just saw Peter Brechting sub back in, so maybe Brechting will do the heavy lifting.
And Ben Strauss just absolutely dominates an exchange with Brodeur. It's going to allow the team to press once more. Smart play by Vasquez, though she's pushed out of bounds. No, it's just going to be a loose ball. Brechting picking it up. And now looking to drive. Could it be the first goal of the game for another player in Cleveland? It is. And just like that, boom, 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 that 3-goal lead for Detroit has evaporated, and it's all on the back of the really strong play from the combo of Strauss and Dawson.
Yeah, this is such a contrast in style so far. The Innovators really moving the ball, looking for openings, especially behind the hoops, very patient. And the Riff, just looking to counterattack, letting their beaters do the work, and then having Gaffigan or Brechting finish in the fast break. And it's exciting to see which one will prevail.
Detroit now using kind of a hybrid of their first and second line. I think Madeline was a little concerned about things getting out of control. High and himself come back into the game. Loose ball on the ground. Brodor's going to pick it up. Win that battle over Dawson, which means bludgeon control does go back to Detroit for the first time in a few possessions. That patience, that kind of composure from their coaches there, High and Madeline, handling the ball up top.
Yeah, and that's a great play from Ray Brodor. They are so comfortable with physicality.
Yep. Madeline now with the ball, has some space. Strauss is going to be the one who steps out, a pass back across to High. High now has some space, gets a hard beat there from Strauss. Ball does fall to the ground, and I believe it's Britson falling on it.
Great play by Britson just to recover the quaffle. That's going to be key for the Riff, especially with the hoop defense.
No bludgers again. Brechting looking to drive. Has some options alongside. But again, it's just the physicality is lacking from Detroit. And I think that's a great, probably accidental play there from Maureen Rines, who took the beat that was headed Gaffigan's way and allowed Gaffigan to finish that one.
Yeah. Any way you can get the quaffle through the hoops, it's 10 points. And the Riff will appreciate that one.
4-0 run in the matter of 5 minutes to take the lead for Cleveland. I think for the first time since maybe 10-0 or 2010.
Yeah, and it's been the beaters. The momentum has just swung way back towards Ben Strauss and Kyle Dawson.
Yeah, but now we get to see the first time where Ben Strauss gets to take on the combo of Weir and Banis that looked so good earlier in the game. Rick Wasser now in the game for Detroit. Takes one off the wing. It's going to be called no good. Now we're going to get a conversation about it. The Detroit team seemed pretty confident that one went right through the hoop.
Yeah, Wasser was shouting at the refs that the quaffle went through. The Innovators have really been doing all of their damage behind the hoops. Like to see an adjustment from the Riff to shift one of their beaters back a little bit because that's where they keep getting beat.
Yeah. Of course, Wasser's been around long enough to know that you always say you scored because that's how you work the rest. You never show dejection, or everybody knows that one didn't go through the hoop. So it was more question of the beat, whether they were beat before or after. The call is that beat after. Goal is good. We are knotted up at 7. Wasser, first time on the field, scores on his first possession.
Yeah, it's a veteran play, and maybe they're bringing Wasser in to offer some of the physicality that players were not providing earlier.
All right, Gaffigan, I still don't think he subbed. I don't remember seeing him off the field. Might play the full 20. Howe now back in the game. High press here from Weir. A long pass there from Gaffigan in the direction of Brechting, but the zone gets the job done, knocking down the pass.
And I think that's exactly what Detroit was hoping for from Wasser, just being able to read the pass and break it up from the hands of Brechting. Strong play by Rick Wasser.
Yeah, and ball goes over to Madeline. Madeline has it on the wing. Chance to get the lead back. Wasser now has the ball. Driving into the lane. Passes back to Madeline, but a nice beat there by Howe to force the turnover. It's Maureen Rines coming up on top of it. Ball is now loose. High press here by Banis. Gets to Brechting. That is going to be back to Wasser. Wasser looking to make it 2 goals in 2 possessions. Into the lane. Dunks over Rines, and it is 80-70 lead for Detroit.
Such a heads-up play there by David Banis to jump all over Gaffigan, who thought he was in the clear, probably pictured himself scoring on the other end, but Banis, right when he crossed the keeper's own line, beat him out, and then was also able to beat out Brechting, I believe, and then Wasser was able to finish through multiple bodies on the other end.
Yeah, you know, this is in a lot of ways a rebuilding year for Detroit, something we've talked about a lot, and there are a ton of college players from multiple different programs on this field. The 3 veterans they have on this team, Rick Wasser, David Banis, and David Weir, have been such huge contributors here in this game, and that's sometimes what you need in those big moments. But now it's one last chance for a goal here for Cleveland. Brechting fakes Madeline out of his shoes, but the shot, I think they're going to have to talk about it. Got a nice opening shot opportunity. It's not going to go. It is going to be the 20-minute timeout, and Detroit is able to get a 10-point lead after that 40-point response here from Cleveland. And it really does seem to be, you know, the shifts in this game seem to be based on what beater pairs are in the game at any given time.
Yeah, I think right now in an elimination game, we're seeing the value of experience. Ben Strauss and Kyle Dawson as well on the Cleveland side, as well as David Banis and David Weir on the Innovator side are really stepping up showing that they've been here, they've done this before, they've qualified for MLQ championship, and so yeah, they've been playing well, and it's going to be up to some of the younger beaters on both teams to find their way into the game and string together some momentum as the series goes on.
Yeah, and what's interesting to see as, we play through what could be, a 3-game series to determine everything is, how are these teams devoting their resources? We mentioned Gaffigan's played 20 minutes in this game. Detroit's done a better job of rotating through their players. If this comes down to a game 3, the way Detroit might be playing some things might make more sense. But for Cleveland, if they can get that 1-game win, this game becomes, I think, that much more important for Cleveland to get the W in.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. And I think I saw Gaffigan just sub out before the 20-minute mark. But, yeah, I think this is a must-win for the Riff with the way that they've played Gaffigan and Brechting early. They're not going to be able to keep fighting through contact and running up and down the pitch all day.
Yeah, and the largest lead in this game has been 3 by Detroit at 60-30, I believe, which means that with it being so close, if a team can come up with a snitch grab, and again, each of these teams only has 1 grab on the season, a snitch grab could be so decisive in this moment. Head coach Gabe Boris is going to take it on himself, putting on the yellow headband, trying to get his team that lead. But I think the other interesting thing to discuss here is that we've seen almost no physicality on the defensive end from Detroit. And if this goes extended and people are dedicating beaters to the snitch, it can mean a lot of free goals for Cleveland.
Yeah, and that might be a reason why they won't entirely dedicate their beaters to the snitch. They're going to need one at least hanging back in the Quaffle game, I think, here today.
Yeah, we saw Indianapolis kind of balancing that in the battle against Toronto, but I think this might be a slightly different snitch on pitch situation. It'll be interesting to see how things play out. As I mentioned, Boris is getting the start at seeker for Cleveland. Across from him, Luce Marklin is in for Detroit. Ball is with Detroit, I believe. It's either Gwen Pratt or Jeanette High it's going to be Gwen Pratt who's coming up with that loose ball, the missed shot from Brechting, a chance to tie right before the 20-minute mark.
Jeanette High, another veteran on the Detroit Innovators team, a head coach previously, somebody who they can really lean on. She'll be key here in snitch on pitch.
And it's another thing that Madeline talked about. They treated all their first 2 series as practice because these are the games that matter the most. And you can see that they've, tempered down their roster. They're really going with what they think is going to work. And they're getting a good result here, up 80-70. How attempts a beat there on Bandis will be called beat. Immediately, Marklin and Boris both getting opportunities. Boris trying to shoot behind, can't quite come up with it. Meanwhile, in the Quaffle game, a pass is picked off by Brechting. It's, I believe, Jeanette High, who couldn't quite find it. Tries to make up for a mistake by knocking it out of Brechting's hands, but to no avail. Now Brechting's getting ahead of steam. We've talked about the physicality, but it is David Weir back into the Quaffle game here and is going to slow down Brechting's run. Brechting tries an incisive pass across to Britson, but good heads-up play by Madeline knocks it down. No blood has been found yet in the Quaffle game here, snitch on pitch. Meanwhile, Gabe Boris is getting some time to work against the snitch. Madeline now trying to drive in the lane. Britson steps up high. Howe runs right past. It goes around the corner to Pratt. Pratt's able to get it across to High. Now it's stepping out is Gaffney. Gaffney gets blown by High. High swings one across to Madeline. A great look and composed patience from Madeline. Puts it through. It's a 2-goal lead for Detroit. They lead at 90-70.
What a great move from Jeanette High, just to duck the defender and swerve around the defense and put the pass on the money for Madeline. That's 10 points because of Jeanette High right there.
Yeah, and Weir and Banish doing a great job going back and forth between the Quaffle and Seeker game. That's that veteran, opportunity that we talked about.
Yeah, it's something that I just love to see in snitch on pitch. Beaters going back and forth. I think it's something that we've seen more of this summer. Really exciting.
Yeah. Oh, and there's a contested grab, and I believe it is Marklin who has the snitch. We're going to have to discuss it. I think it's Boris who opted for that 50-50 opportunity. We've talked about the dangers of 50-50 opportunities all season long, and that one might spell Cleveland's doom in Game 1.
Yeah, I think Boris had been getting closer and closer and just was not just was a little overeager and created the opportunity for Luce Marklin to sneak in there and grab the snitch shot. The ref's discussing now whether it'll stand.
Lengthy discussion here. Obviously, a lot to take in a moment where multiple seekers are getting involved because, even if the other seeker was maybe doing something illegal, it doesn't disallow your catch unless you yourself are doing something illegal. Still waiting here. A good catch would make it 125 Detroit to 70 with a set score of 140.
Yeah, that would put them 2 goals away from the win, and they've shown that they can get those goals with their patient approach on offense. If the catch is good, they'll be comfortable heading back into their normal offense.
Catch is good. Detroit now just needs 2 goals, and it's going to take 7 goals from Cleveland to get back into this one.
Huge eruption from the Detroit sideline. I think the whole team jumped into the air at once. Great to see that unity and excitement from the Innovator sideline.
Yeah, a great question that Reed Marchman asked Kagan before this series was, who is your emotional spark plug on your bench? And they said the entire team. And that's kind of how they've played it all year. They've been, pumping each other up. When Detroit had a home game, it sounded like they had a giant crowd, and it was really a lot of it was their own team both pumping up the crowd and themselves. And like you said, one united celebration as Detroit is now 2 goals away from its first win of the season.
Yeah, you can see it. They got a flag on the sideline. Just wonderful to see here in South Bend.
Yep. So like you said, 7 goals needed now for Cleveland, 2 for Detroit. Brechting has the ball. Interesting to see if Gaffigan even comes back into this game given that point differential. A high press by Weir. Oh, it's a block, but Brechting dropped it. Now I think he might get called for a dive. Either way, though, Banis and Weir are just eating this Quaffle attack alive.
Yeah, and there's just not enough ball movement. There's not enough options for the Cleveland Rift. They've been too reliant here, I think, on Peter Brechting and John Gaffigan not spacing the field effectively, and it's allowed Banis and Weir to force some turnovers.
Madeline has the ball, swings it behind Pratt across to high. Back to Pratt. Long pass to Wasser. Wasser's going to come down with it. Gets around 1, gets around 2. Wasser has a hat trick in about 3 minutes of total gameplay.
Yeah, not the most textbook pass, a big looping pass over the Quaffle, but over the hoops, but great movement behind the hoops by High and Pratt to draw some bludgers out and create the opportunity for Wasser ultimately to finish in front of the hoops.
High has been so important in the half court for Detroit today, just absolutely picking out people left and right, moving the ball to all the right places. 1 more goal now needed for Cleveland. Gaffigan is back in the game, but it's going to take 7 goals unanswered for Cleveland to get back into this one.
Hey, we've seen some runs in this game. If it's any game this could happen, it could be John Gaffigan checking back in.
Gaffigan in the lane, looks for Britson. Oh, a low dive here, and it's going to be Madeline coming up with it. 1 more goal needed for Detroit here. Rand Barnes back in the game alongside Ben Strauss. It's a beater pair that myself and our producer Nick Jablonski have been talking about the idea of since the very opening minutes of the season. I think this might be one of the first times we're seeing it.
Yeah, I think that's right. And they're going to be tasked with stopping the Innovators here.
Oh, wow, Strauss plays right through a wrap to make a block on Brodeur. Loose ball thrown behind. Jeanette High. No, it's going to be called no good. I think it was a last-second beat by Rayanne Barnes.
Yeah, a great recovery. That would have been a fitting way to end Snitch on pitch if High had finished there. She'll try to get him next time.
I was thinking the exact same thing. But now another chance for Cleveland here. Strauss and Barnes able to keep bludger control through that play. As I mentioned, that great play up top by Strauss, and then the great play in the Quaffle game by Barnes. Gaffigan in no rush here. Got Britson as a passing option, but also has the hoops potentially open. No really tall hoops defenders in the game right now for Detroit. Has to pass it off to Brechting. Oh, sorry, that's not Brechting. It's Rob Beaton into the game now at Quaffle. Trying to hit the lane. Passes across. Britson has it. Britson takes a second. Jack Levi steps out hard, and it's a big tackle.
And suddenly we're seeing some physicality from the Detroit Innovators. First, Madeline forcing the ball out of Gaffigan's hands at the top, and then Levi making the tackle behind the hoops. Looks like we have an injury now. Hope they're all right.
Yeah, it definitely looks like this Detroit team really got inspired by that snitch grab and is now kind of pushing that energy through to the end of this game. Of course, only needing the 1 more goal.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's such an unselfish team on the offensive end that I can imagine when one player makes a hit on the defensive end, it kind of inspires some of the other players on the defensive end to also step up. So it's almost contagious, and that's a sign of the unity that we're seeing from the Innovators today.
Yeah. I think that's my mistake. I think Melinda Staub was the one on the field. She was the one who picked up the knock, walked off under her own power, and now Carrie Britson has subbed in for her. Madeline bringing the ball up. Game point here for Detroit. And they've got a lot more of them to come before Cleveland would have any hope of getting back into this one. We are seeing Detroit go a little bit more into their depth, getting some players some minutes here. And Vasquez has the ball up top, over to Levi.
It's Srinivasan behind the hoops. Let's see if he can finish the game. He was hot early on.
Yep. Levi considers hitting the lane, doesn't. Now it's going to be Vasquez who will. Across to Madeline. Madeline into the lane. Oh, floats a shot, but it's not to be, and Gaffing's able to pick it up. Levi, once again, eager to show the physicality. This time a little too eager. I think Levi's headed for the box.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Head ref Chris Lecomte is going to call contact from behind. A little bit too easy.
Yeah, it's one of those low reward, high risk tackles there from Levi.
Yeah, I mean, for the future, he can take note from one of his teammates earlier in the game. I think it was Madeline, who once the keeper crossed the keeper zone line, if you're in the right position, then you make the hit,
right.
But not quite before.
Right. So Gaffigan now bringing the ball down, runs right into Brodeur, but dodges the beat, fakes Emma Vasquez out of her shoes, and easily finds a cutting Carrie Britson. That is one of the 7 that Cleveland needs here.
Yeah, and that's more like it from the Riff. I think that's the first time we've seen an assisted goal so far. Certainly the first time we've seen some more complex ball movement from the Riff, and it's just handing the quaffle down the line, essentially, but enough to get the quaffle through.
Yep. That's a legal swat here from Levi. I think it's going to get bludger control back from Detroit, so a very important play there by Levi, and able to keep the quaffle in possession as well. So now it is Ben Strauss with the only bludger, tries to take an exchange with Brodeur, but Carrie Britson comes up with a loose ball, and now is beat because she just had no support. Srinivasan picks up the ball.
Yeah, good beating from Robert Butler, who's checked into the game for Detroit. Helps his team keep possession. And it's going to be Emma Vasquez with the quaffle now. Vasquez has been quiet so far.
Vasquez has the ball on the left, goes back over to Levi. A ton of space for Levi. Seems to be no rush to take it. His beaters have pushed all the way into the keeper zone, though. Levi floats one over to Madeline. Nobody there to answer. Madeline puts it through. Detroit has their first win of the season. They take it 145-80 over the Cleveland Riff.
Yeah, and there it is. I think we saw some learning in real time from the Detroit Innovators program. Early on, remember, there was the mid-range shot from Andrew Muller, which was stuffed at the hoops. And as the game went on, they saw that against the Cleveland Riff hoop defense, you're going to have to get closer to the hoops, and you're going to have to dunk. And we saw that a couple times from Muller, and most recently we saw, to finish the game, it from Keegan Madeline.
And it's great that you mentioned learning, because you weren't even in the interview when Keegan Madeline said the thing he thinks Detroit has that other teams in this division don't is the ability to learn and to keep improving and to learn on the fly. And it's exactly what you talked about there. They were able to change the tenor of that game. You know, they responded to Cleveland kind of having the better start. They responded to Cleveland having that 40-0 run to briefly take the lead right before Snitch on pitch. And they came up with the Snitch grab, and they came up with the win. A huge win for Detroit. One win away from moving on to tomorrow and a chance at a spot at MLQ Championship. We're going to throw to a break here. I'm Ethan Sturm alongside Jack McGovern. We will be back with Game 2 of Indianapolis and Toronto, where Indianapolis will look to punch their ticket to MLQ Championship with a win. Take care.
Welcome back, everybody. We are into our second game of Indianapolis versus Toronto, our third game overall in a 6-game day for us. Luckily, the three of us, Ethan's going to take a break this game. Today, or right now at least, it's going to be me, Reed, and Jack on the call. Jack,
Yeah,
thanks.
happy to be here with you, Reed, and lucky that we get to rotate today and tomorrow because, yeah, we got a lot of Quidditch here in South Bend.
Yeah. So, game one, a really tight game. No snitch catch, which extended the game pretty long. Both of these teams starting to feel some of that fatigue into the later parts of that game. But it was Indianapolis's beaters that really took over the second half.
Yeah, definitely. And this Indy team is so undermanned right now that there were lots of questions heading into the series. And the first beater pair was Matt Brown and Ben Peachy, who have a lot of experience playing together from the Boom Train season in USQ. The second beater pair, there were tons of questions about. It was Nivash Jairam and Riley Andrews, and they really stepped up, I thought, in the first game. Played well, and it'll be interesting to see, held their own, and it will be interesting to see if they can do the same in game two.
Well, they have to win this one to ensure that they are going to champs in the coming month. But it's Toronto now on the back foot. If they lose this, they're technically going to be fighting for their lives tomorrow against the winner of that Detroit-Cleveland game.
Yeah, that's right. And heading into the series, I think Toronto had high hopes. This is a team that is experienced, many players from Team Canada, and they will expect to qualify for MLQ championships coming in as the second seed from the eastern half of the North Division. So to go down 2 games to an undermanned Indy team is not what they want in this MLQ North Division championship.
Yeah, but Digman was talking about at the beginning, he was still very confident in what is a smaller squad from Indianapolis, and it's providing a lot of minutes for people who otherwise wouldn't have gotten them. And he thinks it's going to really push this team forward, that whenever they do confidently get 2 championships, then they're going to be even better prepared for this. But they still have to beat Toronto, who put together a really solid first 10 minutes last game. And I want to see them make a complete game out of this to push Indianapolis further than maybe they did game one. But we're going to the field. We've got games starting soon. Toronto, Indianapolis, game 2.
Yeah, and Indy is undermanned, but they have some of their key contributors on offense. Nathan Digman with 6 goals in the first game. Just an outstanding performance. Cole Collins added 3, and he could have had a couple more. I'm sure Collins will be thinking that he can play better. They also have Monica Marion, who I don't believe got on the scoreboard the first game, but is a player who can add a number of goals. It was Manzella and Murphy tacking on goals in the Quaffle game, along with Andrews getting 2 towards the end for the scoring for Indy in game 1. Balanced scoring from Toronto as well. They're a team that moves the ball. It was Custer's leading the way with 3 goals in the first game. They're definitely leaning heavily on him right now.
Yeah, such a big physical presence and a big motivator for this team. Usually if it's a big play, whether Custer's is a part of it or not, he's the one getting excited either on the sideline or on the field, and the team really feeds from that. So as we go into Brooms Up, Bludger's favoring Toronto right now, and the Quaffle over to Indianapolis.
Yeah, great play by Joey Shea there on Brooms Up to kick the Quaffle back. Told me on the car ride here that he'd never run Brooms Up before, making the play today. He's another one of those young players from the Columbia program.
J-Rum getting that bludger and subbing out now Matthew Brown in. Bludger's on the ground. Quaffle moving over to Marion. Marion back to Murphy. Murphy having to retreat. That's one reset, a continuous motion. No, doesn't have to go behind the keeper line. Reset used, though.
Yeah, great play by Kennedy Murphy. That's something that she's so good at, just recognizing when her beaters are out of the play and when she needs to step back and take the reset. Just so smart for the intensity.
Yeah, and if she were to retreat behind that keeper line, it would have been a turnover. Oh, the reset, no. Yeah, it's a turnover, in fact. But because Toronto was the one that contacted the ball, pushing it beyond that line, they do not lose possession.
Yeah, the aggressive play from Howard kind of bailed out the intensity there, and they're going to get another chance on offense as Peachy runs into the play with a bludger, and Brown recovers the other from way back. So, yeah, lucky for the intensity.
Still no reset to give, though, because no possession cleanly held by Toronto. But this is Marion on the close side with the catch and score, the first one of the game.
And what a play. That was Ben Peachy camped out on the near hoop, beating out the hoop defender, creating the opening, and Cole Collins recognized it, worked the ball to Marion, and the intensity finish. That's just how they drew it up.
If Indianapolis can keep that kind of play going, I think that they're going to be very, very happy on the offensive end. And even defensively now, they're flustering Toronto with that bludger control that we were talking about was so pivotal at the end of the game last game.
Absolutely, as Peachy beats out.
Another beat. And a shot, no, a pass to the backside. No, it is good. Yes, on the top hoops. Cole Collins gets a shot off. No misses this time. They missed a lot in their first game. I think just maybe getting settled into the game, but now the shots are falling.
Yeah, and early on, Digman and Collins playing together, not something we saw a whole lot of in game one, but a sign that Indianapolis is really trying to get out ahead, perhaps knowing that they don't have the depth advantage, and get an early lead here.
Robin Ju on the close side as the free chaser. Michael Howard with the pass. Almost the shot, though. It just glances off the hoop. I think if it were a little further left, it's a catch. If it were a little further right, it's a score.
Yeah, I don't know how that one didn't find its way through the hoop, but just really unlucky for Michael Howard.
Murphy passing to Manzella on the close side, behind the hoops. There is Riley Andrews back to the front. Murphy looking for holes in the defense. They've got the bludger control to walk in. And the shot, Murphy, no good. But the kick from Riley Andrews to get it back to Digman the first time he's touched the ball this possession, and they've had two decent looks at it.
I love that look from Murphy, that shot, and I'm really liking the setup from the intensity. I think Murphy's played really well at the top of the key, distributing the ball as Digman drives.
Drives and does get the pass off to Manzella. Every play has been assisted for this Indianapolis team.
And Indy's got to be feeling so good right now. This is exactly how they want to play, just patiently breaking down the Toronto Raiders defense and finding open players near the hoops for the goal.
The movement is so clean. They've used this time in between games 1 and 2 during that Detroit-Cleveland game to, it looks like, really refine their identity. Okay, goal is no good, they're calling. (20-0) Indy. Manzella's goal, no good. But, I mean, we're still seeing the plays there.
Yeah, absolutely. And even with the goal called off, that's going to give Indy a confidence boost, just that they're able to move the ball in the way that they want and create some openings in the Raiders' defense.
Matthew Bunn with the quaffle. Pump faking to his teammate Melchior. Melchior with a big impact last time. His physicality surprising Indy. If they can create some chaos with the beater game, perhaps that's Melchior's time to shine.
Yeah, he was especially effective in Snitch on pitch when some of the beaters were more distracted. Right now with Matt Brown sitting deep in the zone, it's a harder ask for him.
Devin Dutt escorting, but this is Melchior on the backside. No bludgers. The dunk is good. They call it good. The assistant refs, though, calling no good.
Yeah, we'll see what they say, but that's exactly the type of opportunity that Brian Melchior is going to want to seize upon. Just a chance when the beaters are kind of out of the play to drive in and use his athleticism, his size, to dunk on a smaller player. Riley Andrews made a great effort on the contest, but not quite enough to stop the quaffle.
Yeah, finding that arm, the shot arm, to disrupt the play potentially. That's exactly what you're looking for. If you find contact in the body of somebody who's trying to jump and dunk, you're not going to get as much. Okay, yeah, they call it no good. It looks like that contact on the arm, that ripping downward of the play there by Riley Andrews was just enough to keep the goal from being good.
Yeah, such a smart play from Riley Andrews. Doesn't have the size advantage, but goes for the arm. We've seen everything from Riley Andrews today. A real utility player for the intensity, and so needed today especially.
All right, Digman, though, the pass. Now Riley on the offensive end gets it going. The goal is good. Another assisted play.
Yeah, and puts it back just to make sure. Riley Andrews, great job getting down the pitch, creating a passing option for Digman. Digman's going to find him 10 times out of 10 there, as Kennedy Murphy is now stepping up high to meet Melchior on defense.
I love the confidence that Digman's showing driving through the Toronto defense, knowing that if he can demand resources from the defensive end, he can get the passes off. But now on the offensive end, it's been looking for the pass, but it's a beater on the backside. Scherger was the perhaps the unintended recipient of the quaffle. But as a beater, obviously, no play to be made.
Yeah, that's not quite the look that the Raiders will want. I think they'll figure it out next time. The pressure was coming from Kennedy Murphy on Levi Medeiros that forced the ball out. Maybe the intensity switching it up in Game 2 and making their presence known on the defensive end.
All right. Offensively now, looking to work. The swat from the Toronto Raiders is going to buy a little time, but Digman doesn't need much at all. The top hoop is scored.
Yeah,
Indianapolis
great shot.
40-0.
Great shot from Nathan Digman, picking up right where he left off in Game 1. Got 6 goals with a real combination of mid-range shots and drives through traffic. Digman can really do it all.
Yeah, it's the first unassisted goal here for Indianapolis and the 4th goal scorer. Toronto, though, striking back. Combo breaker here on the offensive end is it's Levi Medeiros who throws in what looked like just a crazy angle shot.
Yeah, Medeiros brings so much energy on the pitch. A real spark plug for the Raiders, just streaking behind the hoops and firing the shot through. Maybe that will give a lift to the Raiders early on here in South Bend.
And they've got bludger control. They feel confident here. That's the swing here for this Toronto team. Riley Andrews, though, looking for the shot, goaltended. What a magnificent defense there.
Yeah, great recovery from Melchior to save the goal. Andrews wanted the call, but Melchior's got the green headband on.
Digman is beat. Indianapolis only has 2 pass options, and instead, oh, that's beyond the keeper's own line. They do get the call. Yeah, that's going to be a turnover. Toronto recently just really turning it back. They got the quick goal. They got the defensive stop. This feels like a momentum shift. If they can get this goal, that would solidify it for me.
Yeah, and it's Medeiros again, putting the pressure on Hannah Miller. I don't think Miller saw the keeper's own line coming up on her, and Medeiros is now going to get a chance to get his 2nd goal of the day. I don't believe there is a bludger back, no. So if he can get around Hannah Miller and Nathan Digman, who is shading back, the Raiders will have found their 2nd goal.
Yeah, Mary Owen, the free beater here without the bludger. Perhaps looking to recover one with teammate Navash Jaram.
Yeah, I don't see the 3rd bludger right now, but Jaram doesn't have a bludger in hand either. And it looks like the quaffle has gone back to Hannah Miller.
Okay. For the moment. Okay, yeah. Hannah Miller able to maintain possession. Digman now with the quaffle. Jaram getting that much-needed sub after a very heavy run. A lot of recovering of the bludgers, let's say, that kind of shift for the young beater.
Absolutely, and Dryram certainly has the energy to be making those runs, but he's going to want to conserve some of it for Game 3.
Zeller with the pass. The bludgers are traded. But this favors Toronto in the closer field. Digman's shot is blocked, and Toronto comes up with another stop. And now with bludger control, they can look to pressure. But it looks like they're looking for the subs instead. A bit of connection here. Sugar is the only the only Raider on the other side of the pitch and loses bludger control.
Yeah, it's Matt Brown and Mary Owen now with both bludgers back for Indy. A missed opportunity for the Raiders just when they had started to be using more active hands on defense and knocking down the shot from the intensity. Now they're going to have to attack 2 bludgers.
Devin Dutt at the top of the key. Custers is sneaking, though. Look here on the close side of the hoop. No, on the backside. Page Hare, though, is an option. Ben does not keep the quaffle in hand. It's dislodged by the bludger. They get bludger control back because of the play, but you think, I mean, with an open opportunity like that, they were looking for the score.
Yeah, Medeiros just has to be a little bit more careful of his surroundings there. Didn't see the bludger, which came and dislodged the quaffle, forced the turnover for the Raiders.
9 minutes into the game, 4-1, Indianapolis in the league. Cole Collins with the quaffle over to Anna Holmes. Holmes having a big defensive impact last game, looking to get on the offensive end. This time she's near a hoop. Snuffed out by the beaters of Toronto.
Murphy's just waiting for Cole Collins to get back in the play. Collins will take the quaffle now.
Look at the backside, though. Joey Shea.
Yeah, unmarked behind the hoops.
I think that's where they could be looking. There's the pass. Now the second one. Here's Holmes on the close side. Oh, the pass is just a bit too high. Yeah. Collins now.
Just missed Holmes, but Collins was there for the recovery. Sends it back to Murphy now.
Collins has a little bit of space and some time, but it's back to Joey Shea. Shea fumbling the quaffle into another pass, just not quite on the mark. But it still remains in Indy's hands.
Yeah, I like the idea from the intensity, using the player behind the hoops to force the zone to move. The execution has just not quite been there. Let's see if they can try it again and get it right here.
Weather takes one hoop down. They're down to 2. Until this ball's reset, they're really not going to have an opportunity to get a full set of hoops out there, but Murphy doesn't mind. She gets the shot off. It's no good, though. The beater pressure forcing an early shot, and now the turnover to Toronto.
Yeah, just a little high on the shot from Kennedy Murphy, but I don't think the intensity will mind at all that she's taking that. Certainly has the range, has the arm strength, the accuracy. That's a good look for the Indy program.
All right, Toronto looking to get back into this. They got that quick goal, and since then just haven't had the same opportunities. A missed pass, a fumbled ball, but the shots I think are there. They just have to play well with their beaters, and if they can get on the same page, I think that will help a lot. But Devin Dutt now at the top of the key with the pass behind. The shot. No good, but this is Custers on the putback, the rebound, and score. 2 goals here for Toronto, getting back into this game.
Yeah, and great movement of the ball around the zone. They forced the Indy beaters to step out, and the Indy beaters then left the pass near the hoops unattended, and the Raiders were able to finish.
Indianapolis on the offensive end, Nathan Digman. Really clipping the back there.
Yeah, high risk, high reward for the intensity.
Yeah, if that bludger doesn't land, then a lot of pressure resides on the shoulders of Jerem with the lone bludger for defense.
Riley Andrews back in the quaffle game for the intensity, sitting behind the hoops. I don't believe we've seen him in the beater game so far.
Not this game, no. Yeah. Matthew Brown subbing in at the beaters for the beater game. Andrews on the backside. Brown looking to clear off the pick option. Digman looking at the hoop as well. That's exactly what they were wanting. It is a clean play from Brown, even catching the bludger to maintain possession.
And Digman doesn't get the opportunity to score a goal that easy that often. So I'm sure he's going to appreciate that from Andrews, being able to pick him out at the near hoop and get the goal to end the run from the Raiders and put the intensity up 5-3.
And Brown on the stat sheet in +5 for this game. Just every time they're out on the pitch, they're making a huge impact. And Indianapolis, the MVP for them this game so far. Great block by Digman. Swat, though. Heads up play there by Howard. Keeps possession. Zoo able to get it over? No. Goes out of bounds. A turnover here. Indianapolis getting the quaffle.
And it's Brown making the recovery behind the hoops to beat out the Raiders chaser. Really good defense from the two of the real leaders for the intensity. Digman with the quaffle block at the top of the key, and Matt Brown. I like to see it. Another thing that we're suddenly seeing a lot of is blocks. I think these teams have to realize that they're going to need to move the quaffle a little bit more at times, and they can't quite force shots through players with active hands who are paying close attention on defense.
Marion, though, looking for the pass to Manzella, does not complete defensively there. Emma Sherwood with the bludger able to disrupt the play.
Yeah, Manzella had a really nice game one, scored a goal, made some great plays, but unable to finish there.
Sanun Cater on the backside, able to get the quaffle. No good. Looked like an attempted pass, but with something so low, catching something at your knees can be. It feels like the most difficult place to catch a quaffle.
And this is a no-bludger opportunity for Cole Collins.
Collins with the shot, a floater over the defense of the Toronto Raiders, puts another one on the board.
Created by Matt Brown, who found himself in possession of the third bludger and was able to throw it away in the other direction at a Toronto chaser. Legal play, very smart play, and just created a huge window for Cole Collins to finish on the other end.
Yeah, Matthew Brown just all over the place, offensively, defensively, just covering everything for this intensity team. Corey Smithson on the close side with that bludger. Does bait the beat. Peachy recovering the bludger, and that gave time for the quaffle, but they cannot get past the defenders of this intensity. More beats here. I mean, it's just a team effort on the defensive end here. Toronto not able to get anything despite some of the advantages early on in the possession.
Yeah, Matt Bunn just not able to handle the quaffle at the top. We saw some of a look of the fake handoff play. Not sure if that's something that's going to really trick the intensity defense, but a look that we've seen in the past from the Raiders. Definitely something that is part of what they like to do on offense, but ultimately not able to handle the quaffle behind the hoops is what does them in.
Yep. And with that timeout, it is 30-70 Indianapolis, and it felt streaky for a moment. Toronto kind of surging back into the game in its.
It's a key play for the Indy program.
And they would really like to have this kind of extended lead here going into Snitch on pitch play, because okay, it is going to be a card. Paige Hare collecting their first. Contact around the neck. But yeah, if Indy can hold this lead or even extend it going into endgame, I think that's going to benefit them a lot. They have a lot of game ahead of them. If they win this, yes, they're going to championships, but it's just a matter of maintaining that energy for such a small squad right now.
Yeah, and they're just going to want to get out of this weekend as soon as possible, regroup, get healthy, and get their full squad back in time for MLQ championships. They're just trying to survive and advance right now.
And they're doing better than that. They're thriving here.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
All right, Digman with the quaffle. Taking their time. We've got plenty of it. Toronto does have bludger control, so you're looking for Brown to work this defense with Peachy on the backside looming. Sugar has to keep checking back to make sure that Peachy isn't making a move, and this is where we might see it. Murphy passing to the far side. And Holmes to the back. Now the bludgers are thrown. Now we've got an opportunity. Marion gets a pass off to Digman. Digman with no bludgers ahead of him is able to get the score on the top hoop. Indianapolis with their 9th goal of the game.
Wow, and that's all made possible by the ball movement from Kennedy Murphy to Melanie Rolfe to Monica Marion and over to Nathan Digman. That's why they practice so much, the basic drills of circulating the quaffle. These teams are prepared to move the ball today.
Pardon me, yeah, that is Rolfe on the assist there. The secondary, the hockey assist, we'll say.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a couple hockey assists today for Indy, and that's going to be something that I'm sure they're taking great pride in right now.
Well, this is what Nathan Digman before the game was talking about. I mean, this is an opportunity for those kind of players to start to build that confidence in the game plan, develop their own game, and whenever you come out of a game or a series where you've got more minutes than you ever have before, that next practice is super fun. That next practice is super intense. You want to get better. You want to find those minutes again, because if you're playing out here, if you're balling out here like you are or like they have thus far, you're going to start to demand those minutes.
Yeah, Melanie Rolfe, Joey Shea, who scored the previous goal, both from the Columbia program, a real up-and-coming program in the Midwest. Players who will be back with the Columbia program next year, not graduating quite yet, and really exciting to see them get minutes right now in kind of a next player up situation for the intensity today.
Yeah, I think a lot of teams would love to characterize themselves as just a fluid rotation where it doesn't feel like there's drop-off anywhere, but Indianapolis is really kind of putting that to the test as we're going back to the field. These players, they're coming in and they're continuing to make impact. It's that even or the distributed scoring. You know, Cleveland, we saw it was only 2 players showing up on the scoreboard, but Indianapolis, I mean, here with 5 thus far, and nobody has more than 3.
Yeah, lots of contributions up and down the roster, and that's what you'd expect on a day when the team is so short rostered. Looks like it's Riley Andrews in the player box with the Seeker headband on. He'll get a chance against the Snitch early on. Exciting to see, keeping up with the utility theme. Played almost entirely in the Chaser game in Game 2. I believe stepping in for Peyton J, who I don't see on the sideline anymore. I believe might have picked up an injury in the first game. Yeah, it's Andrews who'll be getting the first look at the Snitch.
Yeah, the only headband that Andrews is missing is that keeper one, but maybe depending on a poorly timed card could result in Andrews picking up that headband in perhaps Game 3. But we still have a lot here to play in Game 2. The set score will be 150, with Indianapolis only needing 6 goals or 3 in a snitch catch to win the game. Toronto, a lot more work than that.
Yeah, definitely. They are 6 goals down right now, the Toronto Raiders. They did not fall into such a hole in Game 1. Certainly a team that can come back. They made a run in the first game, but they're going to have a tough task here.
They do have Quaffle. They do not have bludger control, but Sugar in an aggressive position here. Perhaps they're looking to make an early play and get bludger control back before the Seekers for Indianapolis, or the Seeker for Indianapolis has too much time.
Yeah, it's Derek Taylor with the yellow headband on, although he's going to sub out for Brian Melchior right away. I think that's a good substitution. Melchior was getting good looks at the Snitch in Game 1. He's going to wait now and to approach the Snitch, maybe try to get one of those half situations.
And it's full investment in the Quaffle game from both of these beaters. Sugar clearing the lane, using the immunity to keep something, and does not get bludger control. A timely beat by Peachy on the defensive end, but it leaves an opportunity for Toronto to score. Peachy defending the play. Indianapolis maintaining control and getting the turnover.
Yeah, great play by Peachy to recover just in time. Wasn't sure he was going to be able to get back into the play, but snuffs out the danger and forces the turnover. And it's Manzella on the other end. So pretty from the intensity. Digman to Manzella, another assisted goal. Just really good to see from the intensity.
Yeah, Team USA Development Academy player.
Absolutely.
Coming in showing exactly why they're on the squad, knows exactly where to be at the right time, handles the pass perfectly, and gets the shot off before the defense can respond.
We're going to get some new Snitch shorts here.
I think if you're Toronto, I mean, now down 7 goals to Indianapolis, you really have to change it up. You got to look for something different. If you can get bludger control, I think you have to be aggressive. You can't. You in my opinion, you might have to trust the Snitch here and just play quaffle game. Just try to claw back into this because you only have 5 goals to give, and you have to get 12 in order to win this game if you don't catch.
Yeah, it's a tough choice because obviously the Snitch is a quick way to get 35 points, and I thought Melchior had it there. Not quite.
Yeah, I mean, the analysis almost completely ruined in just a matter of seconds. Custers with the quaffle, looking to slow it down, get the beaters back in the game. Maybe doesn't have to. Looks for the shot as Peachy, looks for the pressure on the top of the key.
Ambitious effort from Custers, although wise to just throw the quaffle away with the pressure that was starting to come from the intensity and the lack of other passing options for the Raiders. Might as well take a shot, but certainly a long-distance effort.
Yeah, Digman in no rush. Now that Indy has an opportunity at the Snitch, and they do catch. Waiting for the good call, but that would mean Indianapolis only needs 2 goals to seal their ticket, or to punch their ticket, to the MLQ Championships.
Yeah, and that's Riley Andrews with the Snitch sock in hand. Snitch Derek Parker, no bludgers in sight. Riley Andrews, a new player with the intensity program, previously in the Kansas City area, now with the chance to send Indy to the MLQ Championship.
Awaiting the call. Indianapolis happy with the call. I mean, the sideline erupting in joy whenever Andrews comes up with that Snitch sock, and it's relief. It's a good catch, and it's excitement now for Indianapolis. 2 goals away.
And they can taste it. They're so close now. Just being able to seal the deal and advance from this weekend, which is not gone as they wanted with the roster that they were able to bring to MLQ Championship. But a huge accomplishment if they can get 2 goals here to get out of this Raiders series in 2 games.
And it's starting with Digman. Digman now with the cut. The shot rolls in. Another homeward roll on the side of this, but this time on the southern end.
Yeah, you can say that again. Although I'm sure Digman is putting on some top spin on his shots. That might have helped there with the roll.
All right, and now Brown with the beat, looking to pressure. Custers driving around, but gets beat on the drive.
Yeah, too much running from Custers. Just an easy target for Matt Brown once he recovered back into the play. And the intensity are running now.
Marion with the quaffle goes over to Manzella. Manzella now looking for Murphy. Does not find the opportunity. Knows that the pass would have been cut off. Collins now back to Manzella and another score.
And her patience is rewarded. She gets the quaffle back from Collins. And the intensity are going to
Game's over. Okay, yeah, we were waiting for the
I
call.
wasn't sure.
Yeah, waiting for the call. Indianapolis officially punching their ticket to the MLQ Championships in Toronto. Now 1 series away. They have to win against the winner of Detroit and Cleveland to move on as well.
Yeah, but this is, like I was just saying, a huge accomplishment for the Indianapolis Intensity. Down so many players, but able to rely on the players that they have to step up in bigger roles, and it's Ali Manzella with the goal to finish the game.
Yeah, something that we've said a lot, I think, this season. Manzella, right person, right time, just finding those moments and capitalizing on it. But the passing from this Indianapolis team that I think was something reminiscent of that miracle run back in 2018, I believe it was, or 2017. 17, yeah. Such a fluid team that was all over the place in the passing game, but now we're seeing some of that again, and maybe this is a potential for Indy to find that old shine.
Yeah, and almost a completely different roster.
Yeah.
But enough of the values in the program of ball movement, of spacing, to carry through, and with a new generation able to step up, not playing for the division championship. I'm sure that's what they wanted, but able to clinch the 3 seed in the division and slide into the play-in bracket at MLQ championships.
Yeah, and do it with minimal injuries at this point.
Yes.
You did mention Peyton J going down, but I think if you're Indy, you're pretty happy, with where you're at now. But we're gonna. The stream will go down, just as a clarification. We are going to do a little bit of maintenance, but we'll be right back here. We've got Game 2 of Cleveland and Detroit. After this, make sure that you don't touch that browser. We'll be right back. Welcome back. We are over halfway done with our day. We've got Detroit and Cleveland about to begin their second game of the day. Detroit getting the better of Cleveland in the first one, and on the sideline here getting really excited as we start game 2.
Yeah, they can feel how close they are. One win, and they will advance to the win and in series tomorrow morning against the Toronto Raiders, who just fell to the Indianapolis Intensity. So the Innovators, especially with how they won, so many players getting their hands on the ball, good beater shifts across the board, and just a really together performance from the Innovators. They're going to be excited. A snitch catch from Luce Marklin.
Yeah.
They're going to be excited to try to clinch their berth in the MLQ Championship.
Yeah, I mean, you win this, though, you still have another series to
That's
play
right.
against Toronto.
My bad, yes.
Yeah, but, I mean, it's one step closer.
Yeah.
I mean, the emotions after that first game from this Toronto sideline were huge. In Cleveland, conversely, on the other side, I mean, it's a tough blow to be dealt. They've got 2 games at least if they want to beat Detroit here, and it starts with the beater game, as we always say, but I mean, having only 2 goal scorers the whole time with a total of 8 goals between them, it's nice in the moment, but not replicatable in my mind.
Yeah, it's not enough, and it's not how they were able to put together some of their better performances against the Rochester Whiteout. Yes, it was Gaffigan and Brechting driving through the Whiteout defense, but it was often players like Melinda Staup finishing.
Yeah.
And they have to find a way to get Melinda Staup and Carrie Britson more involved in offense in Game 2 here if they want to have a shot at winning. As we're switching the headset over to Ethan Sturm now, who will be joining us in a moment.
Appreciative of Reed for holding down the fort for me there for a few minutes while we just, got some MLQ administrative work out of the way. But we're about to get started in a do-or-die match here for Cleveland. And, really a game that was close most of the way through. And I think you could really argue that if the snitch catch, which, as you might have mentioned already, was mostly a 50-50 kind of play.
Yeah.
If it gone the other way, I think the entire game is completely different. It was that snitch catch that basically just took the wind out of Cleveland's sail and more or less into the game.
Yeah, absolutely. These teams are very evenly matched. And with Cleveland, it was a game of runs. Momentum was certainly a factor. And just with the togetherness of the Innovators team, they were able to get over the finish line on the back of that snitch catch from Marklin. Exciting to see if they can replicate their performance, a young squad in Game 2, and stay focused with a berth in the play-in game on the line.
Yeah, so we've got the same starting beaters here for Detroit. It is once again going to be Ryan Sue as well as Ray Brodeur. Keeper that I don't believe played any minutes in Game 1 was Uthilesh Thunigai, who will be starting as keeper. Emma Vasquez, Jack Levi, and I think that's going to be Akash Srinivasan
Yeah, that's right.
As the final starter for Detroit. On the Cleveland side, unsurprisingly, John Gaffigan will be starting once again. Peter Brechting joining him in the starting lineup, along with, I believe that's Fiona Gaffney and Melinda Staup, and the starting beaters, Ben Strauss. And can't quite tell who's there at the end of the line. I think it might be Kyle Dawson.
Yeah, very young starting lineup for the Innovators, almost all college players right now. Just really exciting to see from the Detroit program.
Right. And we are
They have to watch the false start. Not a lot of these players have run brooms up before.
Yeah, that's a great point. College players who kind of started post-pandemic have not had a chance to open with this procedure. So we'll see what Thunigai can offer here. Running against Gaffigan, wins the brooms up, and is going to get some help there. Going the other way, trying to go through all the traffic, but Brechting a big tackle there. And that's the physicality we're not necessarily seeing always in Game 1. Ben Strauss cleans it up as well. It's going to be blood sugar control and Quaffle all in the hands of Cleveland after that extended brooms up.
Yeah, and Srinivasan just missed a streaking wide open Emma Vasquez on the far side. Wasn't able to get the Quaffle out in time. Ray Brodeur was able to recover one bludger from that play. It was all the way behind the hoops. So the Innovators prevented the fast break, but unable to score.
A big dodge there by Dawson on the Sioux beat, which is going to cause Gaffigan to throw it off to Brechting. And a real change of pace here from Cleveland. We get an assisted goal.
Yeah, something that we didn't see much in the first game, and it's the combination of Gaffigan and Brechting. At times they were switching off in previous series, I think against Rochester. Today, with elimination on the line in the game together.
Yep, so now it's Detroit bringing the ball down. Levi with the ball on the far side, accompanied by Brodeur, facing bloodsher control that's in the hands of Dawson, and now Austin Howe, who's subbed in for Strauss. Brodeur, it's Dawson never even seeing Brodeur. But the teamwork is able to keep bloodsher control. Big step up there by Howe. Sioux pressuring as the Quaffle players just throw it up around up top. Little bobble there by Thinagai, but not going to cause any harm. Again, Sioux just kind of trying to attack Dawson. This seems an exchange, and it's a really clean win there by Dawson. The press comes a little bit higher now. Gaffigan tries to tackle on Levi, but slips right off. Howe's now going to run all the way up and beat out Levi. Thinagai tries a long pass, but Brechting is in the passing lane, and a really encouraging start here to Cleveland in game 2.
Yeah, Brodeur was beat out of the play, and Sioux just had to throw back the bludger and created the opportunity for Cleveland to press, and the Innovators' offense not able to get anything going with their bludgers out of the play.
Gaffigan bringing the ball up now with an early 1-0 lead. They got the early lead in game 1 as well, but kind of watched it evaporate pretty quickly. Would love to tack on another one here. Thinagai's marking Gaffigan high. Gaffigan tries to shake him, gets in the lane, passes across. It is stop, and we're going to get a discussion about that one.
That's the right idea from the ref. Just Ray Brodeur was right there, able to snuff out the danger, patrolling deep in the keeper zone. So you want to see Cleveland getting more hands on the ball, but they have to be more aware of where the beaters are on the other side.
Yes. It is going to be called a beat before and stop a veteran of the Ball State and Intensity programs, making her, I believe, debut this season with Cleveland. Just an errant pass, just a wasted possession there from Detroit. Kind of the sloppiness that we weren't seeing all the way down the stretch in game 1 from Detroit.
Yeah, uncharacteristic from Emma Vasquez in the distributor role at the top as Brodeur loses a bludger to Kyle Dawson there.
Yeah. She'd originally won the exchange, but Dawson's able to clean up for his own mistakes, and now bludger control. Oh, a big beat there on Gaffigan.
That's a really risky play from Ryan Sioux just to fire the bludger, but Gaffigan was not expecting it, and it worked out. Yeah,
now all bludgers on the ground. Now Madeline's going end-to-end, and if it's a miss, no, it is a good beat by Howe to stop the goal.
Yeah, Gaffigan just did not see Howe behind him with the bludger in hand, ready to fire. Would have been too easy for Madeline, sorry.
Yep. So still 1-0. Teams are still kind of getting the kinks out here early in game 2. With Detroit in the lead, elimination game for Cleveland. They would need to win 2 straight to knock out the Innovators and make it to tomorrow's game against the Toronto Raiders. Gaffigan in the lane. Comes out, though, but it's in the direction of Stop, who is already beat out of the play.
Yeah, again, they have to be looking for chasers before the wrap comes and get the ball out in time. Every player on the offensive end has to be in position to support the ball carrier, or else you're going to get in a situation like Gaffigan.
All the way across here. And now it's reset to Madeline. That was Vasquez with the ball on the far side. Bludger control is now with Detroit. Sioux and Brodeur in possession. But no, it's a missed beat there. A tap beat attempt on Howe. It's going to give bludger control right back. But Vasquez is going to get some space. The pass is knocked down by Gaffigan. It's now loose on the ground, but it gets all the way across to Levi. Levi looking to run out. It was a loose ball, kind of paddle balled through the hoop there by Levi.
Yeah, he was juggling, recognized which hoop was most uncovered, and use movement to find the open hoop.
Head ref Chris Lecomte talking it over with AR Christian Barnes here. Okay, so the violation is not going to be on the shot itself. It was a pass after beat earlier in the possession for Detroit. Going to be turned over to Cleveland. They keep their 1-0 lead.
Yeah, tough break for the Innovators, but I think that's the right call. Quaffle didn't get out in time. from Srinivasan.
Chance to break here, too. Only bludger for Detroit on the ground with Brodeur. She's going to attempt to kick. Gets it all the way back to Sue, which is going to at least give them a bludger back. Really nicely done. But Sue can't quite get in position fast enough for Gaffigan to get to the keeper zone line, hit his patented mid-range shot, and get a 2-0 lead here